Hi guys, tonight we are going back to a time of iron and stone, to a place where silence was a rare luxury and the night was truly dark. We are travelling to the northernmost edge of the Roman Empire, but we aren't going there to fight a battle. We aren't going there to march. We are going there to find a moment of absolute stillness in the life of a soldier. We are going to experience the meditative, repetitive and strangely soothing ritual of maintaining the famous Lorica Segmentata armour under the light of a winter moon. It is a story about the cold, the quiet and the simple satisfaction of caring for the things that keep you alive. But before we step out into the frigid air of the frontier, take a moment to assess your current surroundings. Feel the weight of your body sinking into your mattress. Notice how soft the fabric of your pillow feels against your cheek. You are not sleeping on the hard frozen earth. You are not wrapped in a scratchy wool blanket that smells of smoke and horsehair. You are here in a climate-controlled room, perfectly safe, perfectly warm. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. Take a deep breath of the clean, warm air in your room. And now, let's travel back to the year 122 AD. The first thing you notice is the cold. It is not the sharp, stinging cold of a modern freezer, but a heavy, damp chill that seems to rise up from the ground itself. You are sitting on a rough wooden stool outside your leather tent. The camp, a temporary fortress built of turf and timber, is asleep. Around you, thousands of men are resting, their bodies huddled together for warmth inside the contubernium tents. But you are awake. The moon is high tonight. It is a brilliant pale disk hanging in a sky so clear it looks like polished obsidian. The moonlight is bright enough to cast long, sharp shadows across the camp. It illuminates the frost that has begun to settle on the grass, turning the muddy pathways into glittering ribbons of silver. It is quiet, incredibly quiet. The only sounds are the rhythmic, heavy breathing of the sleeping legion behind the leather flaps of the tents, and the occasional snap of a dying ember in the watchfire a few yards away. You pull your sargum, your heavy, thick woolen cloak, tighter around your shoulders. The wool is coarse and scratchy against your neck, but it is the only barrier between you and the biting wind that drifts down from the northern hills. This is the edge of the known world. Beyond the wooden stakes of the camp walls lies the vast, untamed wilderness of Britannia. But tonight, the wilderness is silent. There are no enemies screaming in the dark. There is only the wind, the moon, and the task at hand. Resting on your lap is your armour, the Lorica Segmentata. It is heavy. Even disassembled into its upper and lower sections, the weight of the iron plates presses down on your thighs. This armour is a marvel of engineering, a complex system of iron strips, leather straps and brass fittings designed to move with your body. But tonight it is just a collection of cold metal that needs your attention. You reach down to your side. On the frozen ground sits a small clay pot. You pick it up. The clay is cold to the touch, rough and unglazed. Inside is a mixture of olive oil and animal fat, a thick yellowish paste that has congealed in the low temperature. You have to use your thumb to break the surface, working it until the warmth of your skin softens the mixture. It smells pungent. It smells of earth, of rendered fat, and faintly of the olive groves back home, thousands of miles away in the warm Mediterranean. That smell is a distant memory now, the ghost of a warmer life, contrasting sharply with the smell of damp peat and wood smoke that permeates everything here in the north. You also pick up a rag. It is an old piece of tunic, torn and repurposed. The linen is grey with age and stiff with old oil. This is your tool. You begin with the left shoulder guard. The metal is freezing. When your fingers first brush against the iron plate, it feels like touching ice. The cold bites at your fingertips, sending a dull ache through your hands, but you do not stop. You cannot stop. Rust is a silent killer here. The damp air of Britannia is relentless. It seeks out every scratch, every dent, every exposed inch of iron to turn it into orange dust. If you do not clean this armour tonight, by tomorrow morning a thin film of oxidation will have already begun to form. So you work. You dip the rag into the thick oil. You apply it to the first segment of the shoulder guard. The motion is circular. Small, tight circles. Scrub, scrub, scrub. You can hear the faint sound of the rough linen dragging across the metal. It is a dry, rasping sound. It is a small sound, swallowed instantly by the vastness of the night. but to you it is the only sound in the world. You focus entirely on that one strip of metal. You watch as the dull grey iron begins to darken with the oil. The fat fills in the microscopic pits in the surface, sealing the metal away from the air. You rub harder, generating a tiny amount of friction heat. Under the moonlight, the oil leaves a faint sheen, making the shoulder guard look like it is wet. You move to the next strip. This one has a small dent in it, a souvenir from a training exercise last week. Your thumb traces the imperfection. You work the oil deep into the crease of the dent, ensuring no moisture can hide there. The repetition is hypnotic. Dip the rag, rub the metal, check for rust, repeat. There is no rush. There is no centurion standing over you barking orders. There is no formation to keep. Time seems to stretch out. The moon moves imperceptibly across the sky, dragging the shadows with it. You're in a bubble of concentration. This task, which many would find tedious, is actually a relief. It is simple. In a life dictated by chaos, by weather, by the whims of commanders and the threat of barbarians, this is something you can control. You can make this armour clean. You can make it function. You can make it last. Your breath forms clouds of white mist in front of your face. Every time you exhale, the steam swirls for a moment in the moonlight before disappearing into the darkness. You watch the steam vanish and take another breath. The air is so cold it feels like it is cleansing your lungs. It tastes of frost and pine needles. You shift your weight on the wooden stool. It creaks softly. Creak. The sound is loud in the silence. You pause, listening. Did you wake anyone? No. The rhythm of the camp's breathing continues undisturbed. A horse whinnies softly from the picket line on the other side of the camp. A low, rumbling sound that vibrates through the ground, followed by the stomp of a hoof, then silence returns. You go back to the armour. You have finished the shoulder guards. Now you must disassemble the girdle sections, the strips that wrap around your torso. This requires undoing the leather straps and the brass buckles. The leather is stiff with cold. It resists your fingers. You have to work the buckles carefully. Clink. The brass buckle hits the iron plate. A sharp, clear sound. Clink. Clack. You unlace the leather thong. It makes a soft swishing noise as you pull it through the brass eyelet. The leather is dry. You make a mental note to oil the straps later as well. If the leather cracks, the armour fails. You separate the two halves of the torso armour. You set one half down on the dry patch of ground beside your feet. It settles with a heavy metallic thud and a jingle of fittings. Jingle. Thud. Now you hold the other half. It is like a heavy iron accordion. The strips are held together by internal leather straps, allowing them to flex. You have to clean between the strips. This is the hardest part. You have to slide the oily rag into the narrow gaps where the plates overlap. You slide the cloth in. You feel the grit. Sand and dried mud trapped between the plates. You work the cloth back and forth like a saw. Scritch, scratch. The sound is grittier now. You are dislodging the dirt of the march. You pause to wipe away the debris, then apply a fresh coat of oil. You work your way down the torso. Top strip, second strip, third strip. Your hands are getting cold, but the movement keeps the blood flowing. The smell of the oil is stronger now that you have spread it over a larger surface. It is a comforting smell. It smells of maintenance. It smells of readiness. As you work, you find yourself staring at the surface of the metal. Under the moonlight, you can see the hammer marks left by the blacksmith who made this. Thousands of miles away, in a forge in Italy or Gaul, a man beat this iron into shape while it was glowing red hot. Now it is freezing cold on the border of Scotland. You feel a strange connection to that unknown smith. His labour is protecting your life. Your labour is preserving his work. A gust of wind sweeps through the camp. It rattles the wooden stakes of the perimeter fence. Rat-a-tat-tat. It shakes the leather flaps of the nearby tents. Flap, flap, flap. You hunch over, curling your body around the armour to shield it, and yourself from the draft. The wind cuts through your wool cloak, finding the gaps, sending a shiver down your spine. It is a reminder of how hostile this environment is. If you were out there, beyond the walls, without shelter, this wind would steal your body heat in hours. But you are here. You have your cloak, you have the fire's dying heat, you have your purpose. You look up at the moon again. It seems brighter now, or perhaps your eyes have just adjusted completely to the dark. You can see the craters on its surface, the face in the moon that men have looked at for thousands of years. You wonder if your family, far away in the south, is looking at the same moon. Probably not. They are likely asleep, wrapped in linen sheets, the windows of the villa open to catch a warm breeze. The thought doesn't make you sad. It just underscores how far you are and how unique this moment is. You return to the girdle plate. You are halfway down the left side. You dip the rag again. The oil is getting harder to soup as the temperature drops further. You have to press harder with your thumb to melt it. Rub, circle, rub. The motion is automatic now. Your mind begins to drift. You aren't thinking about the drill tomorrow. You aren't thinking about the patrol schedule. You're just thinking about the grey iron turning black with oil. This is the soldier's true life, not the battles. Those are rare, frantic, terrifying moments that last only minutes or hours. The soldier's true life is this: waiting, walking, cleaning, fixing. It is a life of slow, deliberate actions. There is a patience in it that most people don't understand. To clean a suit of armour properly takes hours, and you have nothing but hours. You reach a section of the plate where the brass hook is attached. The brass is dull, tarnished by the damp air. You take a different corner of your rag, a spot that is slightly more abrasive, perhaps dipped in a bit of fine ash from the fire. You rub the brass. Squeak, rub, squeak. Slowly, the dull brownish yellow metal begins to gleam. It catches the moonlight. A tiny star is born on your chest armour. A spark of light in the darkness. You polish it until it shines like gold. It is a small victory. A tiny piece of order restored to the universe. Your legs are beginning to feel a bit numb from the weight of the iron and the cold of the ground seeping up through your stool. You slowly stretch your legs out, listening to the joints of your knees pop softly. You shift the armour to the other thigh. The movement causes the plates to cascade against each other. Click, 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 clack. It is such a distinctive sound. Not a clanking, but a clicking, like the sound of heavy coins being stacked. It is a sound that signifies safety to you. When you hear that sound on the march, it means your brothers are around you. When you hear it now, it means you are preparing. You pick up the second half of the torso armour from the ground. It is cold. You swap it with the warm, oiled half you just finished. The difference is stark. The finished piece feels fed. The metal feels supple, covered in its protective layer. The unfinished piece feels dry, thirsty, neglected. You feel a duty to fix it. You start again at the top, dip the rag, apply the oil, swish, swish. The repetition is a lullaby. It calms your heart rate, it slows your breathing in and out and rub and pause. You notice a small scratch on this plate. It looks like it came from a briar patch you walked through 2 days ago. The thorns of this land are as sharp as its weapons. You work the oil into the scratch, watching it disappear. The magic of care. You're erasing the damage of the past days. You're resetting the clock. The fire nearby has burned down to almost nothing, just a bed of glowing red coals pulsating gently in the wind. Every now and then a gust of wind blows the white ash off the top of the coals, revealing the deep, intense orange heat underneath. It is hypnotic to watch. The glow is faint, barely enough to light your hands, but it is enough. It provides a focal point in the darkness. You realise how tired you are. The adrenaline of the day has long since faded. The fatigue is settling into your muscles, heavy and warm, contrasting with the cold air on your skin. Your eyelids feel heavy, but it is a good tiredness. It is the tiredness of a body that has worked hard and is now winding down. You don't have to be alert right now. The sentries on the walls are watching. You are safe inside the perimeter. You can afford to let your guard down just a fraction as you focus on the metal. Scrub, scrub, wipe. You're cleaning the inside of the plates now, the side that touches your tunic. This side is less rusty, but it is stained with sweat and the friction of wool. You clean it with the same care as the outside. No one sees this side, but you know it's there. The discipline of the Legion isn't about what shows, it's about what is hidden. Doing the work when no one is watching, just you and the moon. A nightbird calls out from the forest beyond the walls. A low, mournful hoot. Hoo, hoo. It echoes through the valley. You pause your hand to listen. It calls again, further away this time. Then silence returns. The silence is like a heavy blanket. It presses against your ears. It is so quiet you can hear the blood rushing in your own head. You're almost done with the torso sections. The pile of finished armour on the ground is growing. It gleams dully in the moonlight, a dark, oily pile of protection. It looks like the shell of a giant beetle. You feel a sense of pride looking at it. It is ready. If the alarm sounded right now, you could strap this on and be ready to face anything. But the alarm won't sound. The night is peaceful. You pick up the final piece, the shoulder that hinges. These are delicate, small brass rivets and articulating plates. They need a gentle touch. You use your pinky finger to push the oily cloth into the tiny mechanisms. You work the hinge back and forth. Squeak, smooth, squeak, smooth. At first it is stiff. Then as the oil penetrates, it becomes silent and fluid. You open and close the hinge. It moves perfectly. You have restored its function. You wipe your hands on a clean corner of the rag. Your hands are covered in oil and soot. They are black and greasy, but they feel protected too. The oil seals your skin against the cold just as it seals the iron. You rub your hands together, generating a little warmth. You look up at the sky one more time. The moon has moved significantly to the west. Hours have passed. You didn't notice. You were lost in the rhythm of the work. The camp is deeper in sleep now. The breathing of the men seems slower, heavier. The frost on the grass is thicker. A white carpet that crunches softly if you were to step on it. You begin to stack the armour plates neatly. You thread a leather strap through the buckles to bundle them together so they won't scatter. Clink, clack, thud. You tie the knot. The bundle is compact, heavy and clean. You place it near the entrance of your tent under the protective overhang of the leather flap so the morning dew won't settle on it. You stand up, your knees are stiff, you stretch, reaching your arms up towards the stars. You hear your own back crack. It feels good to release the tension. You are cold, yes. Your nose is numb, your toes are tingling. But you are finished. The task is done, the ritual is complete. You turn towards the entrance of your tent. The flap is slightly open, revealing the darkness inside. It is warmer in there. Not hot, but warmer than out here. The heat of 7 other men sleeping in the small space has raised the temperature. It smells of sleep and wool. A welcoming smell. You stand at the threshold of the tent, looking back one last time at the world outside. The moon is now dipping lower towards the jagged silhouette of the tree line. The frost on the ground glitters like a field of crushed diamonds, beautiful but deadly cold. The wind has picked up slightly, rustling the dry grass and making the wooden stakes of the camp's perimeter groan softly. It's a lonely sound, the sound of an empty world. But you are leaving that world now. You are stepping out of the infinite cold and into the finite, crowded warmth of the contubernium. You duck your head low. The entrance to the leather tent is small, designed to keep heat in and drafts out. You have to crouch, almost crawl, to get through the thick, overlapping flaps of goat leather. As you push through, the leather feels stiff and icy against your cheek, smelling of old curing smoke and rain. But the moment you pass the threshold, the atmosphere changes instantly. The air inside is thick. It hits you like a physical wall, a dense, humid mixture of warmth, sweat, unwashed wool, and the faint, sweet scent of hay. It is not fresh air. To a modern nose, it might be overpowering, but to you, a soldier on the northern frontier, this is the sweetest smell in the world. It is the smell of survival. It is the smell of the pack. It is pitch black inside. Moonlight cannot penetrate the thick leather walls. You pause for a moment, letting your eyes adjust, though there is nothing to see but varying shades of darkness. You have to navigate by memory and sound. You know exactly where your sleeping space is. It is a narrow strip of ground on the far left, wedged between the wooden support pole and the sleeping form of your tent mate, Marcus. You move slowly, careful not to step on a hand or a foot. The floor of the tent is not bare earth. You and your messmates have covered it with a layer of bracken ferns gathered from the forest, topped with a woven reed mat. It offers a tiny bit of give under your boots, a soft crunching sound with every shifting weight. Crunch and a rustle, crunch. You reach your spot. You sit down heavily. The motion makes the straw stuffing of your mattress rustle loudly. Someone in the darkness grunts, a low sleep protest, shifts their weight, and then falls back into a rhythmic snore. You freeze, waiting for them to settle. The snoring resumes. It is a deep, guttural sound, vibrating through the small space. Far from being annoying, it is comforting. It is the sound of safety. If your brothers are sleeping this deeply, it means there is no danger. Now begins the second ritual of the night, the unburdening. You reach down to your feet. Your boots, the caligae, are heavy with mud and cold, stiff leather. You fumble with the laces in the dark. Your fingers are still numb from the cleaning oil and the outside air, making them clumsy. You pull at the leather thongs, tug, slip, tug. The knot gives way. You loosen the straps around your ankle, then your calf. You grasp the heel of the boot and push down. It resists, clinging to your woolen sock. You wiggle your foot, rotating your ankle. Squelch. Pop. The boot slides off. The relief is instantaneous. Your foot, freed from the constriction of the leather, feels light. You wiggle your toes in the thick wool of your sock. The blood begins to flow back properly, bringing a tingling sensation of warmth. You set the boot aside, placing it carefully near the door where the cooler air might help dry the mud, but not so close that it freezes. You repeat the process with the other foot. Next is the belt, the balteus. It is a heavy leather strap adorned with bronze plates and a hanging apron of studded strips that protect your groin. It jingles softly as you undo the buckle. Ching, clink. You hold the metal strip steady with one hand to silence them. You unbuckle it and coil it up. You place it next to your head, within arm's reach. A soldier is never more than a second away from his weapon. Even in sleep, the belt and the dagger attached to it are part of you. You keep your tunic on. It is made of red wool, now soft from months of wear. It is warm and familiar. To take it off would be madness in this temperature. Instead, you loosen the drawstring at the neck to breathe easier. You run your hands over the fabric, feeling the texture. It is rough, pilling in places, but it holds the heat of your body close. Now you prepare the bed. There is no bed frame. There is no box spring. There is only a pallet, a large sack of rough burlap stuffed with straw and dried heather. It has been flattened by weeks of use. You use your fist to punch it, trying to fluff up the centre where your hip will rest. Thump, thump, rustle. It doesn't do much, but it rearranges the sharpest stalks of straw so they aren't pointing directly at your ribs. You lie down. The transition from sitting to lying is the moment your body has been waiting for all day. Your spine, compressed by the weight of armour and marching, finally elongates. You feel a dull ache in your lower back as the muscles release their tension. It is a good ache. You stretch your legs out fully. Your feet bump against the soft fabric of Marcus's bedding next to you. He doesn't stir. You reach for your blanket. It is your most prized possession. A thick, heavy rectangle of felted wool dyed a dark, practical grey. It is slightly damp. Everything in Britannia is slightly damp, but it is heavy. You pull it up over your legs, over your chest, all the way to your chin. You tuck the edges in under your body, cocooning yourself. You are trapping your body heat, creating a microclimate under the wool. You lie on your back for a moment, staring up into the invisible ceiling of the tent. You can hear the wind outside more clearly now that you are still. It buffets the leather walls. Flap. Whoosh. Flap. The tent poles creak in protest. Creak. Groan. But inside, the air is still. The contrast makes you feel incredibly sheltered. The storm is out there. You are in here. The tent is crowded. You are sleeping shoulder to shoulder with 7 other men. You can hear their breathing. Some breathe shallow and fast. Others take long, wheezing breaths. One man, barely a boy from Spain, mumbles something in his sleep. A few incoherent words in a dialect you barely understand. Then he sighs and goes quiet. The heat radiating from their bodies is what keeps you alive. You are like a litter of puppies, a collective organism of warmth. If you were alone in this tent, you would freeze. The proximity, which can be annoying during the day when tempers flare and elbows clash, is now your greatest asset. You turn onto your side, facing away from Marcus. The straw mattress crunches under your ear. It is hard, there is no denying it. Your hip bone presses into the ground. You have to shift your weight, bending your knees slightly to find a pocket of comfort. You take your arm and slide it under your head to supplement the thin bolster you use as a pillow. The wool of your sleeve is scratchy against your cheek, but you don't mind. It feels dry and warm. You close your eyes. The darkness behind your eyelids is the same as the darkness in the room. You listen to the soundscape of the camp at rest. Far away, a dog barks. Once, twice, then silence. You hear the heavy rhythmic tread of the sentries walking the perimeter path. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound is faint, muffled by the distance and the leather walls, but it is steady. It is the heartbeat of the Legion. As long as you hear those footsteps, you know the watch is set. You know eyes are open, so yours can be closed. Your mind begins to drift back to the armour you just cleaned. You visualise the plates stacked neatly by the door. You imagine the oil soaking into the iron pores, fighting the rust. You feel a sense of completion. You didn't cut corners. You didn't rush. You did your duty. That knowledge is a softer pillow than any down feather could provide. The cold air from the ground begins to seep through the mattress, but your body heat is fighting back, building up under the blanket. A delicate balance is reached. You are not hot, but you are no longer shivering. You are suspended in a state of neutral existence. Your breathing slows down to match the rhythm of the sleepers around you. In, out. In, out. You start to notice the tiny bodily sensations that you ignored while you were working. A slight itch on your calf, probably a flea. You ignore it. It's too cold to move your hand out from the blanket to scratch it. The itch fades as your mind loses focus. A dull throb in your shoulder where the heavy strap of the shield rested during the march. You visualize the muscle relaxing, melting like the fat in the oil pot. You think about the morning. The trumpet will sound at dawn. The harsh, brassy call of the cornu. It will shatter this peace instantly. There will be shouting, the clatter of cooking pots, the smell of porridge, the cold water on your face, but that is hours away. That is a lifetime away. Right now there is no trumpet. There is only the dark. There is only the straw. There is only the warmth. Sleep, you tell yourself, and sleep while you can. The command is gentle. Your brain obeys. The thoughts of the day, the mud, the sergeant's yelling, the letter you want to write home, begin to fragment. They turn into abstract images. Green field in Italy. The smell of hot bread. The shine of the polished brass buckle. You sink deeper. The ground feels less hard now. It feels solid, supportive. The earth of Britannia is holding you up. You are anchored. The sounds of the tent, the snores, the rustles, the wind, blend together into a single continuous drone. It is white noise, it is grey noise, it is the noise of peace. And just as you are about to cross the threshold into true sleep, you remember the moon. That cold white eye looking down on the camp. You're glad to be hidden from it. You're glad to be a secret in the dark. You pull the blanket up 1 inch higher, covering your ear. You take one last deep breath of the thick, warm air, and you let go. Time loses its meaning in the void of deep sleep. For a while, there is nothing. No cold, no hard ground, no heavy smell of unwashed wool. There is only a black, velvet silence. You are not a soldier. You are not a Roman. You are simply a consciousness floating in the restorative dark. Your body, exhausted from the labour of the day, has shut down completely, sinking into a state of torpor that borders on hibernation. But then, slowly the world begins to creep back in. It starts not with a sound, but with a sensation. Temperature. The heat that your body built up under the blanket has dissipated slightly. The fire in the centre of the tent, if there ever was one, has long since turned to cold grey ash. The intense, biting chill of the northern night is pressing against the leather walls, seeping through the gaps, searching for you. You stir. It is a slow, languid movement. You pull your knees up towards your chest, instinctively curling into a tighter ball to preserve warmth. The straw mattress rustles loudly beneath you. Rustle. Crunch. The sound seems deafening in the silence, but no one else moves. The breathing of your 7 messmates continues, a heavy, discordant symphony of snores, wheezes, and soft whistles. They are deep in the first sleep, that heavy, dead-to-the-world slumber that claims men after physical exhaustion. Your eyes open. For a moment you don't know where you are. The darkness is absolute. It is a physical weight pressing against your eyes. There is no ambient city light, no glowing digital clock, no street lamp filtering through a curtain. There is only the thick, suffocating blackness of a pre-industrial night. Then you smell the leather. You smell the damp earth. You remember. You are in the tent. You are safe. You lie there, blinking in the dark, fully awake now. This is the watch of the night, the natural break in sleep that your ancestors have known for centuries. It is not insomnia. It is not a disorder. It is simply the way the body works when it is attuned to the sun and the moon. You do not fight it. You do not feel anxious about being awake. You accept it. You roll onto your back, the straw digs into your shoulder blades, but your body has grown somewhat numb to it. You stare up into the invisible ceiling, and then you hear it. A new sound. Tap, 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 tap. Rain. It has started to rain. At first, it is hesitant. Just a few heavy drops hitting the taut leather roof of the tent. It sounds like a finger drumming on a drum head. Thrum, thrum, tap, then the tempo increases. The sky opens up, pat, 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 pat. The sound transforms. It becomes a steady rhythmic deluge. It is a white noise machine created by nature, magnified by the acoustics of the tent. The rain is hammering against the leather, thousands of tiny impacts per second. It washes away the silence. It washes away the distant sounds of the forest. It wraps the tent in a curtain of sound, isolating you even further from the world outside. You feel a profound sense of relief. Rain means misery for the sentries standing on the wall. Rain means mud tomorrow. But for you, right now, rain means security. No barbarian army marches in a storm like this. No commander calls for a surprise drill in a downpour. The rain is a shield. It locks you in. It gives you permission to do absolutely nothing but lie here and listen. Drumming, hissing, pattering. You listen to the variations in the sound. You can hear where the water is pooling in a sag in the roof, creating a heavier thudding sound. You can hear the water streaming down the sides of the tent, splashing into the mud drainage ditch you dug around the perimeter yesterday. Splash, gurgle, splash. You feel a burst of gratitude for your past self for digging that ditch deep enough. If you hadn't, freezing water would be seeping under the walls right now, soaking your bedding. But the floor is dry. You are dry. Your throat feels dry, though. The air in the tent is dusty with straw particles. You decide you need water. This requires a calculation. To get water, you must move. To move is to lose warmth. You have to break the seal of your blanket cocoon. You weigh the discomfort of thirst against the discomfort of cold. The thirst wins. You move slowly. You peel the heavy wool blanket back just enough to free your arm. The air that hits your skin is shocking. It is wet and frigid. It raises goosebumps on your forearm instantly. You reach out into the darkness, groping for your canteen. You know you left it near your head. Your hand brushes against the rough wood of the tent pole, then the cold metal of your helmet, then there, the smooth rounded curve of the clay flask. You grab it. It is heavy, full of water from the nearby stream. You bring it to your lips. The clay is like ice against your mouth. You pull the wooden stopper out with your teeth. Pop, you take a drink. The water is incredibly cold. It shocks your teeth. It tastes of minerals and earth and faintly of the clay container. But it is refreshing. You feel the cold liquid travel down your throat, settling in your stomach. It wakes you up a little more, sharpening your senses. You stopper the flask and set it back down. Now, the hard part. Getting comfortable again. You pull your arm back under the blanket. You tuck the wool tight around your neck, shivering involuntarily as your body works to reheat the pocket of air you just lost. You rub your feet together, generating friction. You turn on your side again. You face the center of the tent. In the flashes of lightning that have started to flicker, dull, muted flashes that light up the translucent leather for a split second, you can see the outlines of your messmates. They're just mounds of grey wool, motionless heaps. One of them, the big German recruit named Varus, lets out a long, snorting cough in his sleep, then rolls over. His arm flops out from under his blanket, landing on the dirt floor with a thud. You watch him for a moment. You know you should probably wake him and tell him to pull his arm in, or he'll wake up with frostbite. But then you see him instinctively retract the limb, pulling it back into the warmth of his bedding without even waking up. The body knows. You close your eyes again, listening to the rain. It is heavier now, a true storm. The wind has joined in, howling around the tents. Hoo! The leather walls shudder and snap. The wooden structure groans under the assault. Creak. Snap. For a brief second, a primal fear spikes in your chest. Will the tent hold? Is the wind too strong? But then you remember how many storms this tent has weathered. The leather is thick steer hide, waterproofed with tallow. The ropes are staked deep into the clay. It will hold. It always holds. This period of wakefulness, this second watch, is a time for thinking. In the modern world, being awake at 3 a.m. is a source of stress. You worry about your job, your bills, your future. But here, in 122 AD, your worries are immediate and tangible, and therefore paradoxically simpler. You worry about your boots. Did I grease them enough? You worry about the food. Is there enough grain for porridge tomorrow? You worry about the roof. Is that one seam leaking? You listen intently to a spot directly above your head. Drip. You wait. Drip. A leak. A tiny, slow leak. A drop of cold water lands on your forehead. It is startling. You wipe it away with the back of your hand. It's annoying, but it's not a disaster. You don't get up. You simply shift your head 3 inches to the right. You wait. The next drop falls exactly where your forehead used to be, hitting the straw pillow instead. Plip. Problem solved. This is the stoicism of the soldier. You do not fix what cannot be fixed in the dark. You adapt. You move 3 inches. You go back to sleep. Your mind wanders to the men outside, the sentries. You imagine standing on the rampart in this rain, the cold water soaking through the wool cloak, running down the back of your neck, the mud slick under your boots, the misery of staring into the black, wet void for 4 hours, waiting for a relief that feels like it will never come. The thought makes you feel incredibly warm. Schadenfreude, taking pleasure in the misery of others? No, not pleasure, just relief. Gratitude. Better them than me, you think? Tonight it is their turn. Tomorrow it might be mine, but tonight I am here. You burrow deeper into the straw. The smell of the damp straw is stronger now that the humidity has risen. It smells musty, like a bar. But it is a warm, organic smell. The rain is changing rhythm again. It is settling into a steady droning hum. The violent gusts of wind have passed, leaving just the vertical downpour. It is a hypnotic sound. It creates a sound wall that blocks out everything else. No dogs barking, no horses whinnying, just the rain. You feel your heartbeat slowing down again. The brief alertness of the water break is fading. The heavy blanket feels like a lead apron pressing you down into the earth. Gravity feels stronger. This is the drift into the second sleep. Historically, this was often the time when people vividly dreamed, or when they felt most spiritually connected. You don't feel spiritual, you just feel heavy. Your hand, tucked under your cheek, feels the texture of the reed mat. It is woven in a herringbone pattern. You trace the weave with your fingernail. Zip, zip, a tiny texture, a tiny detail. You focus on it, up and down, over and under. It is boring, it is repetitive, it is perfect. The cold is still there, lurking at the edges of the tent, but your body has won the battle for the centre. You have created a microclimate of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit inside a shell of wool. You're a furnace. You feel a phantom itch on your nose. You twitch your nose to make it go away. You're too comfortable to move your hand. The itch passes. Images begin to flash in your mind again. Random, nonsensical images. A broken chariot wheel sinking in the mud. The face of a girl you saw in a village 3 months ago. The shine of the oil on the armour plates you cleaned earlier. Clink, clack. You hear the sound of the armour again in your memory. Scrub, scrub. The sound of the cloth. The rain outside merges with these memories. The patter of the rain becomes the clatter of hooves. Then it becomes the sizzle of bacon in a pan. Then it becomes nothing, just sound, just vibration. You are drifting. You are no longer in the tent. You are floating somewhere between the rain and the ground. The sensation of the hard floor vanishes. The sensation of the cold air on your nose vanishes. There is only the warmth. There is only the hum. You take one long, shuddering breath, a sleep sigh. Your lungs fill with the damp air, and you exhale all the tension remaining in your ribs. Your jaw goes slack. Your fingers curl loosely. You slide back down the well, deeper, deeper, back into the black velvet. Deep sleep is a time machine. You close your eyes, and 8 hours vanish in a heartbeat. But the return journey is rarely smooth. You're pulled back to reality not by a gentle sunrise or a chirping bird, but by a sound that is designed to shatter the human soul. Bwah! The sound cuts through your dreams like a serrated knife. It is the cornu, the great circular brass horn of the Legion. It is not a musical instrument. It is a weapon of noise. Its tone is low, guttural, and brassy. A vibration that you feel in your teeth before you even fully hear it. Wah, wah. Your eyes fly open. For a split second there is confusion. Where am I? Then the cold answers you. The temperature inside the tent has dropped significantly since you fell asleep. The human furnace effect of 8 sleeping men has fought a valiant battle against the Scottish winter. But in the hours just before dawn, the winter has won. The air inside the tent is frigid. It is heavy and still, biting at the only part of you exposed to it, the tip of your nose and your forehead. The tent is filled with a strange, ghostly fog. It takes you a moment to realise what it is. It is the collective breath of your messmates. 8 men exhaling warm moisture into freezing air has created a low-hanging cloud of mist that hovers just above the floor. The horn blows again, further away this time, echoing off the wooden palisades of the fort. The camp is waking up. Around you, the mounds of grey wool begin to stir, groan, rustle. Your tentmate Marcus lets out a long, shuddering sigh, the universal sound of a man who does not want to face the day. "Morning," someone grumbles from the darkness. The voice is thick with sleep and resentment. "Freezing," another voice whispers back. You lie there for 5 more seconds, just 5 seconds. You bargain with the gods of discipline. You try to absorb the last lingering calories of heat trapped within your blanket. You wiggle your toes. They are warm. Your chest is warm. But you know that the moment you move, that warmth will be murdered by the air. This is the hardest moment of the soldier's life, not the marching, not the digging, but this. The voluntary act of destroying your own comfort. You count down in your head. 3, 2, 1. You throw the blanket off. Whoosh. The cold hits you like a bucket of ice water. It is a physical shock. Your skin prickles instantly. You gasp. Your breath puffing out in a violent white cloud. You sit up quickly. Speed is the only defense now. If you move fast enough, you can generate heat. If you linger, you freeze. You reach for your tunic. You slept in your under tunic, but your outer tunic, the heavy red wool, is sitting in a pile by your head. You grab it. It is cold. It feels like damp cardboard. You pull it over your head, fighting through the tangled fabric. Tug, pull, your head pops through the neck hole. You shiver uncontrollably for a moment as the cold wool settles against your skin. You rub your arms vigorously. Rub, 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 rub. The friction helps. A little. Now the boots. You look at your boots sitting by the door where you left them. You dread this. Every soldier dreads this. During the night, the moisture in the leather, the sweat from your feet, the mud from the march, the dampness of the air has frozen. Your boots are not shoes anymore. They are statues of shoes. They are rock hard. You crawl over to them. You pick one up. It feels like a block of wood. You try to shove your foot in. It doesn't budge. The leather upper has collapsed and frozen in a flattened shape. You have to use your fingers to pry the leather open. It resists. It is stiff and unyielding. You have to use actual strength, wrestling with your own footwear in the dark. Grunt, push. You jam your foot down, squeeze. The leather bites into your heel. It is excruciatingly cold. It feels like stepping into a snowdrift. You wiggle your toes desperately, trying to create space, trying to warm the leather from the inside out. It takes a full minute of struggling before your heel finally pops into place. Thump, one down, one to go. You repeat the struggle with the left boot. By the time both are on, you are fully awake. The adrenaline of the physical struggle has chased away the sleep fog. You lace them up quickly, your fingers clumsy and numb. You don't tie them too tight, you need circulation today. You stand up. The tent is low, so you have to hunch over. Your messmates are in various stages of the same struggle. You hear the sounds of dressing in the dark, the clink of a belt buckle, the scratch of wool on skin, the thud of a boot heel hitting the ground. The air smells different now. The sleepy, warm smell of the night is being replaced by the sharp, metallic smell of the morning frost. And underneath that, a new smell begins to drift in from outside. Smoke. The cooks are awake. You grab your belt. You wrap the heavy leather around your waist. The metal apron strips jingle. Ching ching. You cinch it tight. The weight of the dagger on your hip is reassuring. It grounds you. You're no longer just a freezing man in a tent. You're a legionary again. You have your shell. You grab your cloak, the sagum. You swing it around your shoulders and pin it with a heavy bronze brooch. This cloak is your house, your blanket, and your shield against the weather. You pull the hood up. You are ready. You step towards the tent flap. You push aside the leather. Creak. The leather is stiff with frost. You step out. The world is grey. The sun has not risen yet. We are in the false dawn, that time when the sky is a flat, lifeless slate of charcoal and bruised purple. The moon is gone. The stars are gone. There is just this pervasive, shadowless gloom. The cold out here is different from the cold inside. It is moving. The wind picks up the moment you step out, slapping your cheeks with invisible icy hands. It finds the gap between your hood and your neck instantly. You look around the camp. It is a scene of organised misery. Hundreds of men are emerging from hundreds of tents. They look like ghosts in the mist. Grey figures stumbling out of leather caves. No one is talking. It is too cold to talk. Words waste heat. There is just the sound of coughing, spitting, and the crunch of hobnailed boots on frozen ground. Crunch, crunch, cough. The ground is treacherous. The mud that was soft yesterday afternoon froze solid overnight. It is now a landscape of jagged ruts and peaks. If you aren't careful, you'll twist an ankle. You walk carefully, planting your feet flat. You head towards the latrines. This is the first destination for the entire army. It is a communal experience you would rather forget, but it is a necessary part of the morning. You huddle in your cloak, waiting your turn, eyes fixed on the ground, sharing a silent camaraderie of discomfort with the men around you. The smell here is sharp. The cold suppresses some of it, but not all. You finish quickly. Your next destination is the fire. You head back to your contubernium's assigned cooking spot. The designated cook for your tent group has already started the fire. He is the hero of the morning. The fire is small. Wood is scarce and precious, but it is alive. The flames lick at the bottom of a hanging bronze pot. You approach the fire like a moth. You extend your hands towards it, palms out. You're not alone. Your messmates gather in a tight circle, shoulder to shoulder, forming a human wall to block the wind from the flame. You watch the steam rising from your hands. You feel the heat pricking your skin, thawing the numbness in your fingertips. It's a painful, tingling sensation, but it feels good. Porridge, the cook says. One word, it's all that's needed. He ladles a grey, glutinous lump into your wooden bowl. It is pulse, a mixture of ground emmer wheat, water, and maybe a bit of bacon fat or salt if you're lucky. It is not a croissant. It is not eggs Benedict. It is essentially hot, wet cement. But when you hold that wooden bowl in your hands, feeling the heat radiate through the wood into your frozen palms, it is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. You bring the bowl to your lips. You don't use a spoon, you just sip it from the edge. The steam hits your face, you inhale it. Warmth, you take a mouthful. It is scalding hot. Burns your tongue, but you don't care. You swallow it down. You can feel the hot lump travelling down your esophagus, lighting a fire in your belly. It tastes of grain and smoke, mostly smoke, but it is fuel, it is calories, it is life. You stand there, chewing slowly, looking around the camp. The sky is lightening. The charcoal grey is turning to a lighter, steel grey. The silhouette of the watchtower stands black against the horizon. You see the centurion walking down the main thoroughfare. He is fully armoured, his transverse crest distinctive even in the gloom. He looks like he never slept. He looks like he was forged from the frost itself. He is checking the lines, looking for stragglers, looking for weakness. You straighten up slightly as he passes. You are eating, but you are alert. A sudden gust of wind blows smoke into your face. You squeeze your eyes shut, coughing. The smoke stings your eyes, making them water. You wipe the tears away with your knuckle. The tears feel cold on your cheek. Wind's changing, Marcus says, looking up at the sky. He's chewing a piece of hardtack biscuit, dipping it into his porridge to soften it. Snow coming. You look up. The clouds are low and heavy. They look swollen like bruised bellies. He's right. The air smells like snow, that metallic clean scent that precedes a blizzard. You finish your porridge. You scrape the bowl with your finger to get the last bit of grain. You lick your finger. Nothing is wasted. You feel better. The shivering has stopped. Your core temperature has risen. The engine is running. You rinse your bowl with a splash of water from the bucket. The water has a thin crust of ice on it that you have to break, and tuck the bowl back into your kit bag. Now the work begins. The trumpet sounds again, 2 blasts this time. Bwah, bwah. Assembly. The camp transforms from a collection of individuals into a machine. The casual huddling around fires dissolves instantly. Men grab their shields. Men grab their pila, javelins. You go to the tent entrance where you stacked your armour last night. The Lorica Segmentata, you look at it, it is cold, it is a pile of frozen iron, you have to put that on. This is the second great struggle of the morning. You pick up the torso section. The metal sucks the heat right out of your hands. You lift it over your head. Clank, jingle. You lower it onto your shoulders. Even through the thick wool of your tunic, you can feel the cold weight of the iron settling onto your body. It presses down on your collarbones, constricts your chest. You tighten the leather straps. The oiled leather you worked on last night is supple, thank goodness. It moves smoothly. You feel a flash of pride. Your work paid off. You tie the laces. You're encased in steel. You pick up your shield, the scutum. It is heavy plywood, covered in leather and edged in bronze. You slide your left hand into the horizontal grip. The weight pulls at your shoulder socket. You pick up your javelin. The wooden shaft is rough and cold. You fall in line. Your contubernium forms a single file. You march to the main road, merging with other files to form a century. Ideally 80 men. Today, maybe 76 fit for duty. You stand in formation. The waiting begins. Legionaries spend a lot of time waiting. You stand at ease, leaning on your shield, shifting your weight from foot to foot to keep the blood moving. The sun finally breaches the horizon. It is a weak, pale yellow sun, offering no heat, just light. It illuminates the frost on the helmets of the men in front of you. A sea of iron and horsehair crests. Thousands of men standing in silence, breathing white clouds into the air. You look at the back of the neck of the man in front of you. You see the goosebumps on his skin where his haircut ends and his scarf begins. You see a small scar. You see the texture of his wool cloak. You focus on these details. You're not thinking about the enemy. You're not thinking about the snow that is starting to fall, tiny dry flakes that bounce off your shoulder plates. Tick, tick, tick. The snow hitting the armour sounds like sand. You are thinking about your bed. You are thinking about that warm, straw-filled sack you left behind. And as you stand there, freezing, waiting for the order to march, you send a thought forward in time. You think about the person listening to this story. You think about you. The person lying in a room that never freezes. The person with a duvet that weighs nothing but traps heat perfectly. The person who doesn't have to wear iron to start their day. You, the Roman soldier, are jealous of you, the listener. But you are also resilient. You adjust your helmet. You grip your pilum tighter. The centurion yells the command. Mandata, captate. Direct orders. Listen. Agmen, movete, poi. Column. Move. The sound of 1,000 boots hitting the frozen earth in unison. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The vibration travels up through your soles into your shins. You begin to walk. You leave the warmth of the fire behind. You walk towards the gate, towards the north, towards the snow. The rhythm of the march takes over. Left, right, left, right. It is a trance. It is the sleepwalking state, pause. Your mind detaches from the cold body. And as the camp fades behind you, swallowed by the mist and the snow, you let yourself drift away from the Roman frontier and back into your own bed. Now feel the contrast. The Roman soldier is marching into the blizzard. His feet are cold, his shoulders ache under the weight of the iron. But you're not marching, you're staying. Feel the mattress supporting your back. It is not frozen ground. Feel the blanket over your shoulders. It is not wet wool. You don't have to get up. You don't have to move. The trumpet is not for you. The march is not for you. You have nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just let the soldier march away into the grey mist, while you sink deeper into the warmth. The rhythm of the legion is the rhythm of a heartbeat. It is a slow, heavy, thumping pulse that vibrates through the soles of your feet and travels up into your spine. You are no longer an individual man with a name and a history. You are a single cell in a giant armoured organism that stretches for miles along the stone road. You look down at your feet. The hobnails on the bottom of your caligay bite into the frozen earth. Metal against stone, metal against ice. The sound is a continuous rolling roar. It sounds like a landslide that never ends. It is the sound of Rome moving. Left, right. Your world has shrunk. You are not looking at the horizon. You are not looking at the dark forest that line the road where eyes might be watching. You are looking at the shield of the man in front of you. It is a curved rectangle of red leather and bronze. You know every scratch on it. You know the exact shade of the red dye. You watch it sway back and forth with his stride, sway left, sway right. It is a pendulum. It hypnotizes you. You are carrying the weight of a mule. They call you and your brothers Marius's mules for a reason. You're not just a soldier, you're a beast of burden. On your back, balanced on a T-shaped wooden pole called a furka, hangs your entire life. Your cooking pot, your rations of grain and bacon, your saw, your pickaxe, your basket for moving earth, your spare tunic, your personal items, 60 pounds of gear, plus the armour, plus the shield, plus the javelin. At first, when you step off, the weight feels crushing. The wooden pole digs into your shoulder muscle. The straps of the armour pinch your neck. You feel every ounce of gravity trying to pull you down into the mud. You think surely no human being can carry this for 20 miles. But then, the miracle of the march happens. Your body goes numb. Your muscles stop complaining and simply accept the reality. The weight ceases to be a separate object. It becomes part of your skeleton. You lean forward slightly, using your momentum to fall into the next step. You fall forward, you catch yourself, you fall forward, you catch yourself. That is all marching is, controlled falling. The snow is falling harder now. It is not the wet, slushy snow of the south. This is the dry, powdery snow of the north. It swirls around your legs. It clings to the wool of your cloak. You watch the snow accumulate on the shoulders of the man ahead. It starts as a dusting of white sugar. Then it becomes a thick white epaulet. You can feel it accumulating on your own shoulders. It adds a tiny amount of weight, feather by feather. But you do not brush it off. You cannot move your arms. Your hands are occupied holding the shield and the javelin. You just let it sit there. In a strange way, the snow is an insulator. A layer of snow blocks the wind. You are a walking snowman encased in wool and iron and ice. The road beneath you is a marvel. It is a Roman road. It is straight as an arrow, cutting through the chaotic, twisting wilderness with ruthless efficiency. It is paved with large, flat stones, cambered in the centre so the water drains off. Even here, at the edge of the world, the engineering is perfect. You focus on the stones. Some are grey, some are brown. Some have little veins of quartz that sparkle in the flat grey light. You start to play a game to keep your mind occupied. You try to step only on the grey stones. Step, step, step. It is a small distraction, a tiny rebellion against the monotony. The soundscape of the march is specific. There is the roar of the boots. But above that, there is the symphony of the equipment. The clinking of the javelin tips knocking gently against the shields. The creaking of the leather straps stretching under the load. The squeaking of the wooden furka rubbing against the armour. It is a rhythmic, industrial noise. It is white noise. Clink, creak, stomp, clink, creak, stomp. After the first hour you stop hearing it. It just becomes the silence. Your breathing settles into a cadence. In for 2 steps. Out for 2 steps. In, out, out. The cold air burns your nostrils, but your body is generating massive amounts of heat now. The furnace is roaring. You can feel the sweat trickling down your spine, under the tunic, under the armour. It is a strange sensation to be sweating while snow falls on your face. The sweat creates a humid microclimate inside your clothes. You're wet, but you are warm. As long as you keep moving, you're fine. If you stop, the sweat will freeze and kill you. So you do not stop. You must not stop. Your mind begins to detach. This is the soldier's trance. You are not thinking about the destination. You're not thinking about the warm tent you left behind. You're not thinking about the political reasons for this war. You're not thinking at all. Your brain waves slow down. You enter a state of moving meditation. You are simply a machine that converts grain into footsteps. There is a peace in this, a total lack of responsibility. You don't have to decide where to go. You don't have to decide how fast to walk. The centurion decides. The road decides. You just follow. A flake of snow lands on your eyelash. It hangs there, blurring your vision. turning the world into a watery grey smear. You blink, it melts. A cold tear runs down your cheek, you lick it away, it tastes of sky and dust. The column slows down slightly as you approach a hill. You can feel the change in the rhythm, the accordion effect. The men in front of you shorten their stride. You shorten yours. You don't bump into them. You maintain the interval, 3 feet, always 3 feet. You lean into the hill. Your calves burn, the weight on your back pulls you backward, trying to drag you down the slope. You fight it, you dig your toes in. The breathing of the men around you gets louder. Huff, puff, huff, huff, puff. Steam rises from the column like a locomotive. A long snake of white mist winding up the hillside. At the top of the hill, the wind hits you. It is unobstructed here. It howls across the open moorland, driving the snow horizontally. It stings your exposed face. You tuck your chin down into your scarf. You squint your eyes. But you don't stop. You crest the hill and begin the descent. The descent is harder than the climb. The impact on your knees is jarring. Thud, thud, thud. Your equipment bounces on your back. The pot bangs against the pickaxe. Clang, clang. You have to hold your body tight to stop the rattling. You notice a small stone has worked its way into your boot. It is a tiny, sharp pebble. It is wedged under your heel. Every time you step, it digs in. Step. Ouch. Step. Ouch. It is annoying, it is frustrating, but you cannot stop. You cannot break formation to untie your boot. That would disrupt the entire line, so you accept the pain. You adjust your stride slightly, rolling your foot to the side to avoid the pressure. You make friends with the pebble. It is your companion for the next 10 miles. It reminds you that you are alive. Eventually your heel goes numb, and the pebble disappears into the background of your sensations. The hours bleed into one another. The light in the sky changes subtly. The grey brightens to a pearly white at noon, then begins to darken again towards slate. You've been walking for 5 hours, or maybe 6. Your stomach grumbles, a low, hollow sound. You ignore it. You will eat tonight. Your shoulders are screaming. The trapezius muscles are tight knots of tension. You try to shrug them, lifting the weight for a second to let the blood flow. Lift, drop. The relief lasts for 3 seconds. Then the weight settles back down, heavier than before. Suddenly, a whistle blows. A sharp, piercing sound that cuts through the wind. Halt! The column shudders to a stop. The silence that follows is deafening. The roar of the boot stops instantly. There is just the sound of heavy breathing and the wind whistling over the helmets. You do not sit down. You cannot sit down. If you sit, you might never get up. You simply lean on your shield. You plant the bottom edge of the shield in the mud and lean your weight against the top rim. It acts like a third leg. You shift the weight of the furka from one shoulder to the other. Grunt. The sensation of fresh blood rushing into the numb shoulder is exquisite. It tingles. It burns. It feels like life returning to a dead limb. You reach for your canteen, you take a sip of water. It's freezing cold, it makes your teeth ache, but it washes the dust from your throat. You look at Marcus next to you. His face is red from the wind. His nose is running. There is ice in his eyebrows. He looks at you. He doesn't smile. He just nods. A tiny nod. Says, I am here. You are here. We are doing this. You nod back. That is the entire conversation. Nothing else needs to be said. The whistle blows again. Advance. You lift your shield. You heave the weight back into position. You step off. Crunch. The rhythm resumes immediately. It is as if you never stopped. Left, right, left, right. Your mind goes back to the drift. You start visualizing the road stretching out ahead of you. It goes on forever to the end of the island, to the end of the world. You imagine the stones passing under your feet. 1 stone, 2 stones, 1,000 stones, 1,000,000 stones. It is an infinity of steps, but you only have to take one, just the next one, and the next one. The snow is getting deeper now. It covers your boots. You're wading through a shallow river of white powder. The sound changes. The crisp crunch becomes a muffled crump. It is softer, quieter. The world is being muted. The trees are covered in snow. The rocks are covered in snow. The sharp edges of reality are being smoothed over. Everything is round. Everything is soft. Everything is white. You feel a strange drowsiness. It is the combination of the cold, the rhythm, and the fatigue. It is not a dangerous sleepiness yet. It is a hypnotic sleepiness. Your eyes lose focus. You are staring at the back of the neck in front of you, but you don't see it. You see swirls of grey and white. You are floating inside your armour. The metal shell is moving, but you are still inside it. Listen to the rhythm. Crump, crump, crump. It is the heartbeat of a giant sleeping beast. You are safe inside the beast, or you are being carried. Even though your legs are moving, you feel like you are being carried. The road is a conveyor belt. It is pulling you forward. You don't have to try, you just have to be. Focus on that feeling of automatic movement, the feeling of effortless momentum. You're gliding over the stones, you're gliding through the snow. The cold does not touch you. You're deep inside the wool. You're deep inside the furnace. You're a warm ember travelling through a cold universe. Now imagine that this rhythm, this steady, relentless, comforting rhythm, is the rhythm of your own breath as you lie in your bed. The march of the Legion is the rise and fall of your chest. In, out, left, right, steady, unstoppable. The soldier has to keep marching. He has miles to go. But you can stop, you can step out of the column. Imagine yourself stepping off the road. You step into the soft, deep snow on the side of the road. But it is not cold, it is warm. It is soft, like feathers. You watch the column march past you. The endless line of grey cloaks, the endless line of red shields. They are marching away into the mist. The sound of their boots fades. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Fainter, fainter, until it is just a whisper in the wind. You are left behind in the silence. The beautiful, white, muffled silence. The soldier is still marching. He is doing the work for you. He is carrying the weight so you don't have to. You are light. You are weightless. You are still. The sun is dying. It is a bruised purple smear on the western horizon, bleeding into the grey clouds. The light is failing fast. You have been walking for 8 hours. Your legs are lead. Your shoulders are numb. Your mind has retreated into a small dark cave of endurance. And then it happens. The standard bearer at the front of the column stops. The ripple effect travels down the line. The soldier in front of you stops. You stop. The man behind you stops. There is no command yet. Just a cessation of movement. The sudden lack of motion is disorienting. Your inner ear is still marching. You feel the ghost of the rhythm swaying you forward. You have to plant your feet wide to keep your balance. The centurion walks down the line. He looks tired too, though he would never admit it. He points to a patch of ground to your left, a nondescript grassy slope overlooking a stream. HIC Manabemus, he says. Here we remain. This is the campsite. To a civilian, it looks like nothing. It is just a field. It is wet. It is covered in scrubby bushes and half-frozen mud. There is no shelter. There is no wall. There is no safety. Yet, to you, this empty field is a canvas. By nightfall, you and your brothers will turn this wilderness into a fortified city. It is the magic trick of the Legion. You carry your city on your back. Impedimente deponite! Drop baggage. You unhook the heavy wooden furka from your shoulder. You let it slide down your arm. Thud. It hits the ground. The feeling that washes over you is indescribable. It is a physical rush of euphoria. Your spine, compressed for miles, suddenly expands. You feel 2 inches taller. Your shoulders, freed from the biting straps, feel like they are floating. You rotate your arms. Pop, crack. The joints release their trapped nitrogen. Hurts, but it is a good hurt. But you do not sit down. The march is over, but the work is just beginning. In the Roman army, the shovel is as important as the sword. You cannot sleep until you are safe, and safety must be built from scratch every single night. You strip off your armour. The Lorica Segmentata comes off in pieces. You stack it neatly on top of your shield. You leave your tunic on. The air is frigid as the sun disappears, but you roll up your sleeves. You are about to generate heat again. You reach into your kit and pull out the Delabra. It is a heavy, brutal tool. Half pickaxe, half mattock, iron head, ash wood handle. It is scarred from 100 other camps. It is your best friend and your worst enemy. You walk to the line marked out by the surveyors. They have already placed little white flags in the ground to mark the perimeter. This will be the ditch, the fossa. You take your position. You are responsible for a 3-foot section, just 3 feet, but you must dig it 5 feet deep and 3 feet wide. You look at the ground. It is frozen turf, tough grass roots matted together in a web of ice. You raise the Delabra. You bring it down. Thwack! The sound is dull and heavy. The pick breaks the frost layer. A chunk of earth flies up. You raise it again. Thwack! This is a different rhythm from the march. The march was lower body. This is upper body. It uses your back, your lats, your biceps. Swing, impact, pull, swing, impact, pull. The vibration travels up the wooden handle and rattles your bones. Your hands, already calloused, grate against the wood. You feel a blister forming on your thumb, right where the handle rubs. You ignore it. You're a machine. You are digging a grave for the enemy, or a bed for yourself. It is the same hole. The earth smells strong as you open it up. It smells of damp, ancient soil. It smells of worms and decay and cold. You get it into the groove. You stop thinking about how tired you are. You just focus on the dirt. First foot down, topsoil, dark, rich, heavy with moisture. It clings to the blade. You have to shake it off. Second foot down, clay. Sticky, yellow, dense. It sucks at the pick. You have to pry it loose. Squelch, suck. The sound of the clay releasing the metal is wet and gross. You shovel the loose earth into a wicker basket. When it is full, you heave it up to Marcus, who is standing above you on the inner side of the line. He dumps it to form the rampart. The agger. Dig. Fill. Lift. Dump. Dig. Fill. Lift and dump. Steam rises from your body again. You are sweating in the freezing twilight. The sweat drips from your nose and lands in the mud. You are mixing your own water with the land. The light is fading fast now. The world is turning blue. The trees at the edge of the forest are losing their definition, becoming dark, looming shapes. Torches are being lit along the perimeter. Whoosh, crackle. The orange glow of the firelight dances on the wet mud. It makes the shadows jump. It makes the scene look primal. Thousands of men digging in the earth, illuminated by flickering flames. It looks like the underworld. You are waist deep in the ditch now. The wind goes over your head. It is warmer down here in the earth. It is quiet. You are insulated by the soil. You pause for a second to wipe your forehead with your muddy forearm. You look up at the sky. The first stars are appearing. Tiny, cold pinpricks of light. You take a deep breath. The air in the ditch tastes of clay. You feel a strange satisfaction. You are changing the landscape. This ditch will be here for 1,000 years. Long after you are dead, the scar you made in the earth will remain. A memory of tonight. Done! Marcus calls down. You have reached the depth, 5 feet. You throw the Delabra up. You scramble out of the ditch, your boots slipping on the fresh mud. Marcus grabs your hand and hauls you up. You stand on the agger, the mound of earth you just built. You look down at your work. It is a perfect, clean trench. A geometric line of defence cut into the chaos of nature. It is beautiful, but you aren't finished. You reach for your sudis, the stakes. You carried 2 of them on your back all day. Thick, sharpened oak stakes. You plant them into the top of the rampart. You hammer them in with the flat of your Delabra. Bang, bang. Together with rope. Suddenly a wall appears. 10 minutes ago this was an open field. Now there is a ditch and a wooden wall. You are no longer exposed, you are inside. The psychological shift is instant. Outside the wall is them. The wolves, the barbarians, the cold, the unknown. Inside the wall is us. The legion, the order, the warmth. You're inside, you feel your heart rate slow down. The primal anxiety of the open wilderness evaporates. You have built your shell. Now finally the tent at you and your messmates work together. It is a choreographed dance. You have done this 1,000 times. No one needs to speak. Unroll the leather. Connect the poles. Drive the pegs. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of mallets hitting wooden pegs is the sound of home. The leather rises. It snaps taut. It forms a familiar shape. It looks exactly like the tent you slept in last night. And the night before. That is the genius of the Legion. You change location every day, but your home never changes. The street layout is the same. The tent is the same. Your neighbour is the same. It is a mobile village of absolute consistency. You throw the bedding inside, you throw the kits inside, you crawl in for a second just to check. It is dark, it smells of the same old leather. It is perfect. You crawl back out, the work is done, the camp is built, the trumpet sounds, blah, dismissed to mess. Your body suddenly realises what it has done. The adrenaline crashes, the fatigue hits you like a falling wall, your knees wobble. Your hands are shaking so much you can barely holster your tool. Your stomach roars. You walk towards the fire. The fire is already roaring. The cooks have been busy while you dug. The smell of wood smoke and boiling grain fills the air. Tonight, there is something else. A savoury smell. Bacon. Salted pork fat sizzling in the pan. Your mouth floods with saliva. It is a visceral reaction. You sit down on your kit bag near the fire. You don't have the energy to talk, you just stare at the flames. The fire is mesmerising. Blue at the base, orange in the middle, yellow at the tip. It licks the black bottom of the cauldron. The heat washes over your face, it dries the sweat on your brow, it thaws your frozen nose. You hold your hands out. They are caked in mud. The mud is drying and cracking in the heat. It looks like a map of a dry riverbed on your skin. You rub your hands together, the dry mud flakes off. Scritch, scratch. It feels good to be clean, even just a little bit. Marcus hands you a bowl. It is hot. You hold it with both hands, letting the warmth soak into your palms. You take a bite. It is salty. It is greasy. It is bland. It is the best thing you have ever tasted. You eat slowly, savouring every calorie. You can feel the energy entering your bloodstream. The chatter around the fire is low and murmuring. Men are too tired to boast or joke. They are just existing. "Good ditch tonight," someone says. "Soft ground," you reply. "Better than yesterday."
Even the watcher is sleeping.
That is the extent of the conversation. You look around the camp. It is night now, pitch black beyond the torchlight. But inside the square of the ramparts, it is a city of light. Campfires dot the grid in perfect lines. Thousands of fires. From above, it must look like a reflection of the stars. You feel a deep sense of belonging. You are one of these fires. You are part of this constellation. You finish your meal, you wipe the bowl clean with a piece of bread, and you drink some water. Your eyelids are heavy. They feel like they are made of lead. The fire is dying down, the cold is creeping back in. It is time. You stand up, you stretch, every muscle screams, but it is a quiet scream. The work is done. You have earned this. You walk to the tent. You brush the snow off your boots before you enter. You unlace them, squelch, pop. Off they come, you crawl inside, the air is already warming up. The other men are already there. You find your spot, the same spot as always. Left side, by the pole, you lie down. The straw mattress receives you. It moulds to your tired back. You pull the blanket up. You close your eyes. You think about the ditch you dug. You imagine it out there in the dark. A deep black line in the earth. It is guarding you. You built your own safety. You built your own sleep. You let out a long breath. The day is over. The march is over. The digging is over. Now there is only the rest. And as you drift off, you imagine the person listening to this. You imagine you. You didn't have to dig a ditch today. You didn't have to walk 20 miles. You didn't have to build your own walls. Your walls were built for you long ago. Your heat is automatic. Your food is ready. You are the emperor of your own life. So rest. Rest like an emperor. Rest like a soldier who has put down his shield. The darkness takes you. The sounds of the camp fade. The crackle of the fire fades. There is only silence and the deep, heavy velvet sleep of the just. Weeks bleed into months. The calendar of the Legion is not marked by days, but by the changing texture of the ground beneath your feet. When you arrived, the earth was mud, thick, sucking clay that pulled at your boots. Then it was frost, a crunchy, glittering crust over the mud. Now, as the campaign stretches into the deep heart of winter, the ground has transformed again. It is stone, the mud has frozen solid, turned into a dark, iron-hard pavement that rings when you walk on it. The landscape has been stripped bare. The trees that line the horizon are skeletal, their black branches scratching against the low, heavy sky. The colour has been drained from the world. There is no green, there is no brown. There is only white, grey and black. The great white silence has descended on the frontier. Tonight, the routine changes. Usually the trumpet sounds for sleep and you drift away, but tonight, just as you are finishing your evening meal, scraping the last of the bacon fat from your bowl, the Tesserarius, the officer of the watch, stops by your fire. He doesn't say a word. He just points at you. He hands you a small wooden tablet covered in wax. On it is scratched a single word. The password for the night. Victoria. Victory. You know what this means. Tonight you do not sleep. Tonight you are the eyes of the army. You have drawn the third watch. The midnight shift. The darkest, coldest, loneliest hours of the night. From 12 until 3, a heavy sigh escapes your lips. It is not a sigh of rebellion, you are too disciplined for that. It is a sigh of resignation. While your messmates are crawling into the warm, straw-filled womb of the tent, unlacing their boots and loosening their belts, you must do the opposite. You stand up, you tighten your belt, you check your dagger, you pull your cloak, the heavy, scratchy sagum, tighter around your throat. You fasten the bronze brooch right under your chin, creating a seal against the wind. You look at the tent flap. You can hear the straw rustling inside as Marcus settles down. You feel a pang of jealousy so sharp it almost hurts. They are going to the warm place. You are going to the cold place. You turn your back on the fire. You walk away from the light. You walk towards the wall. The camp at night is a different world. During the day, it is a bustling city of noise and shouting. At night, it is a necropolis. The rows of tents look like burial mounds in the moonlight. The silence is heavy, broken only by the crackle of the perimeter torches and the crunch of your own boots on the frozen snow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound is loud, startlingly loud. You feel like every step announces your presence to the entire north. You reach the ramparts, the earth wall you built with your own hands weeks ago. It is covered in a layer of snow now. The wooden stakes at the top are capped with white ice. You climb the wooden ladder to the walkway. The wood is slippery. You grip the rungs tight with your gloved hands. You reach the top. The wind hits you. Down in the camp, the tents block the wind. Up here, on the wall, there is nothing between you and the North Pole but air. It hits you in the chest. It pushes you back. It is a relentless freezing pressure. You take your post. You stand beside the wooden palisade. You plant your feet shoulder-width apart. You rest the bottom of your shield on the wooden planks of the walkway. You're set. And now, nothing happens. That is the job. For the next 3 hours, your job is to do absolutely nothing but stare into the dark. You look out beyond the wall. The world ends 10 feet past the ditch. Beyond the torchlight, there is just a wall of blackness. You know there is a forest out there. You know there are hills. But tonight, there is just the void. Your eyes try to make sense of the shapes. Is that a bush? Or a crouching man? You stare at it. You don't blink. Your eyes water from the cold wind. The tears freeze on your eyelashes, making them sticky. You stare until the shape resolves itself. It's just a bush. It hasn't moved. You exhale. A white cloud of steam obscures your vision for a second, then vanishes. The cold begins its siege. It is an intelligent enemy. It doesn't attack all at once. It starts at the extremities. First, your toes. The leather of your boots is frozen. The cold creeps through the soles, through the wool socks, into your skin. Your toes start to tingle, then they ache. Then slowly they go numb. You wiggle them constantly inside the boot. Wiggle, wiggle. It is a tiny movement, invisible to anyone watching, but it is the only thing keeping your blood flowing. Next, your nose. It feels like someone is pinching the tip of it with icy pliers. You bury your nose inside the rough wool of your scarf. The wool smells of wet sheep and lanolin. It is itchy, scratching your chapped skin. But the itch is better than the freeze. You breathe into the fabric, recycling your own heat, creating a small pocket of warm, moist air against your face. You are not allowed to sit. Sitting is death. If you sit, you sleep. If you sleep, the enemy comes, or the centurion comes. Both end in death. So you stand, you shift your weight from your left leg to your right leg. Shift, wait 5 minutes, shift, wait 5 minutes. It is a slow, rhythmic dance of endurance. Your mind begins to play tricks on you. This is the sentry's madness. In the silence, you start to hear things. Was that a twig snapping? You freeze, you hold your breath, you listen, nothing, just the wind whistling through the gaps in the wooden stakes. Ooh. Just the creaking of the timber platform. Urk. Your brain wants there to be a sound. It craves input. It invents patterns in the white noise. You look up at the sky. The clouds have cleared. The storm has passed, leaving behind a sky of polished crystal. The stars are incredible. Without any city lights to dim them, they burn with a fierce, cold intensity. They look like diamonds scattered on black velvet. They look sharp enough to cut you. You recognise them. The same stars that shine over Rome. There is Orion, the hunter. He's hanging low in the south. You trace his belt. 3 bright stars in a perfect line. You think about the story of Orion, a hunter, like you. He's frozen in the sky, forever chasing the bull. You're frozen on the wall, forever watching the forest. You feel a strange kinship with the constellation. You're both on watch. To keep yourself awake, you start to count the stars in the belt. 1, 2, 3, then the sword. 4, 5, 6. Then the shoulders. You count until you lose track, then you start over. It is a boring game, but boredom is safe. Boredom means no one is attacking. Boring is the soldier's favourite word. You pray for a boring night. You pray for nothing to happen. A meteor streaks across the sky, a sudden slash of white light that vanishes in a heartbeat. Omen, you think. Good or bad? It fell towards the north, towards the enemy. Good, you accept this logic. It satisfies you. Your hands are tucked inside your cloak to keep them warm. You are hugging yourself. But every few minutes you have to take a hand out to touch your equipment. Check the pylon, javelin. You run your glove over the wooden shaft. It is rimmed with frost. It feels rough and sandy. Check the shield. You tap the bronze rim. Tap. It is solid. These touches ground you. They remind you why you are here. Time moves differently on the wall. It stretches and warps. You feel like you have been standing here for 10 hours. You look at the moon to check the time. It has barely moved. It has been 20 minutes. A wave of despair washes over you. 2 hours and 40 minutes to go. How can time be this slow? You decide to stop looking at the moon. Looking at the clock only makes it slower. You go back to the bush, the one that looked like a man. You stare at it again. It is your friend now. You know every branch. You know the way the snow is piled on its left side. You start to visualize the inside of the tent. You reconstruct it in your mind, detail by detail. You imagine the smell of the hay, the sound of Marcus snoring, the feeling of the blanket tucking under your chin, the warmth. The warmth. You can almost feel it. It is a phantom sensation. A memory so strong it makes you shiver. You torture yourself with this image. Soon, you tell yourself, soon. Now, pause for a moment. Step out of the Roman soldier's frozen boots. Come back to now. Think about where you are. You are not standing on a wooden platform in a freezing wind. You are not forcing your eyes to stay open. You are not shifting your weight to keep your toes from dying. You are lying down. Your muscles are completely relaxed. You don't have to watch the window. You don't have to listen for twigs snapping. The door is locked. The house is safe. You are relieved of duty. Feel the contrast. The soldier must stay awake. You are allowed to sleep. In fact, it is your only job. Let the soldier hold the line for you. He is standing there in the cold so you don't have to. He is watching the dark so you can close your eyes. Back to the wall. The cold is deepening. It is the wolf's hour, that time just before dawn when the temperature bottoms out. Your breath is no longer just steam. It feels like it is crystallizing in your throat. Every inhale is sharp. Your armor feels like it has shrunk. The metal plates are contracting in the cold, squeezing your chest. You start to hum very quietly. Inside your throat, a marching song, a silly tune about a girl in Gaul who sold bad wine. Dum 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 da dum. The vibration in your chest feels warm. It is a tiny internal fire. You hum it again. It occupies your brain. It stops the sleep from taking you. Suddenly you hear it. Real footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Rhythmic, heavy, deliberate. Not a deer, not a barbarian. They are quiet. It is the relief. You turn your head stiffly. Your neck cracks. You see a lantern bobbing in the dark camp below. A small sphere of yellow light floating towards the ladder. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. Better than the sunrise, better than gold, it is the end of the shift. The lantern reaches the ladder. You hear the grunt of effort as the new sentries climb up. 2 men appear on the walkway. They look miserable. They are hunched over, shivering fresh from their warm beds. You feel a flash of pity for them, but it is drowned out by your own relief. "Anything?" the newest sentry asks. His voice is raspy. Nothing, you reply, quiet as the grave. Good. You hand him the tessera, the watchword tablet. Victoria, you whisper. Victoria, he repeats. The transfer is complete. The burden is past. You do not linger. You turn towards the ladder. You descend. Going down is easier than going up. Gravity wants to help you. Your feet hit the ground inside the camp. The wind is instantly cut off by the wall. The air down here is still freezing, but it is still. You feel like you have stepped indoors, even though you are still outside. You walk fast towards your tent. You are walking with purpose now. Every step brings you closer to the reward. You pass the dying fires. Some are just piles of white ash now. You reach your tent. It looks like a dark, slumbering beast. You brush the fresh snow off your shoulders. You stomp your boots quietly to knock off the ice. You pull the flap open. The smell hits you again. Sweat, straw breath. 3 hours ago you left this smell. Now you return to it like a prodigal son. It smells like heaven. You crawl inside. It's pitch black. You feel your way to your spot. You sit down. You begin the unburdening. Off with the cloak. It is stiff with frost. You lay it over your kit bag to thaw. Off with the belt. Off with the dagger. You do not take off your boots. You are too cold and you're too tired. And it is too dark. To hell with the boots. You will sleep with them on. You just loosen the laces. That is enough. You lie down. You pull your blanket over you. The blanket is cold at first, but your body heat, now trapped, starts to work instantly. You shiver violently for about a minute. Shake, shake, shake. This is the after drop, rhythmic. Your body relaxing, releasing the tension of the cold you let. You let it happen. You curl into a tight ball, and then the some shivering stops. A wave of warmth begins to spread from your core. It travels down your legs. It travels to your fingers. Your toes, which were numb blocks of wood, start to tingle painfully as the blood returns. It hurts, but it is a sweet pain. It means you are alive. You listen to the wind howling outside the tent. Ooh. You smile in the dark. Let it howl. It cannot touch you now. You are inside the leather bubble. You have done your duty. You have paid your tax to the night. Now, the night belongs to you. The adrenaline of the watch fades. Your brain, which was hyper-alert, scanning for enemies, suddenly switches off. It is like blowing out a candle. 1 second, you're thinking about the snow. The next second, nothing. You sink into the straw. The ground is hard, but you don't feel it. You're floating. You're safe. You are warm. You're asleep. The soldier is asleep now. His watch is over. But the night continues. While he sleeps, the snow continues to fall, covering the camp in a thick white blanket. The world is being muffled, layer by layer, inch by inch. Imagine the snow piling up against the side of the tent. Soft, silent, heavy. It adds another layer of insulation. The camp is becoming a hibernation den. Nature is tucking you in. You, the listener, are also safe. You have no watch to stand. There is no list with your name on it. There is no trumpet waiting to wake you. You have the whole night ahead of you. Unbroken, uninterrupted. Just warmth and stillness. When you wake up, you don't know what time it is. Usually the light filtering through the leather roof tells you if it is dawn or noon. But today, the light is wrong. It is dim, brown and murky, like looking through dirty water. You listen for the trumpet. Silence. You listen for the centurion shouting. Silence. There is only one sound, a deep, heavy, muffled roaring. It sounds like the ocean is directly above your head. It is the wind. A blizzard has swallowed the world. You sit up. The air in the tent is different today. It is heavy, stale, and incredibly humid. It smells of 8 men, damp wool, and old leather. It is not a pleasant smell, but it is a warm smell. It is the smell of a bear's den. You look at the tent roof. It is sagging. The leather is bulging inward between the wooden poles, pressed down by a massive weight. Snow. During the night, feet of snow have fallen. The camp is buried. You are living in an igloo made of cowhide. Marcus, next to you, is awake. He is staring at the sagging roof. No drill today, he whispers. He says it with a reverence usually reserved for religious festivals. No drill, no marching, no digging. The weather is too severe even for Rome. The empire has paused. You feel a wave of relaxation wash over you that is so profound it feels like your muscles are melting. You don't have to move, you can't move, you are trapped, and it is wonderful. This is the soldier's holiday. It is not given. It is stolen from the gods of weather. You lie back down. You have permission to stay horizontal. But a soldier cannot simply lie still for 24 hours. The body rests, but the hands must be busy. This is the day of mending. After a while, an hour, 2 hours, you decide to sit up. You don't put on your armour. There's no need for iron today. You stay in your tunic. You wrap your blanket around your shoulders like a shawl. The tent is crowded. 8 men sitting cross-legged in a space the size of a modern bedroom. Knees bumping against knees. It should be annoying. But outside the wind is screaming like a banshee tearing at the world. Inside the oil lamp flickers gently. The contrast makes the crowding feel like an embrace. You are a pack. You are huddling. You reach into your kit bag, a leather satchel that serves as your closet, pantry and toolbox. You pull out your sewing kit, a small wooden tube containing a bone needle and a spool of coarse wool thread. You pull out your spare socks. They're in bad shape. The heel is worn thin, almost see-through. A hole is forming near the big toe. If you march on this hole, you will get a blister. The blister pops, it gets infected. If it gets infected, you die. So mending this sock is not a hobby. It is survival. You thread the needle. The bone needle is thick and blunt compared to modern steel. You have to push it hard, push, pull. You start to darn the heel. You weave the new thread across the gap, over and under, creating a new fabric, over, under. It is microscopic work. You have to squint in the dim light of the oil lamp. The repetition is soothing. It occupies just enough of your brain to stop you from thinking, but leaves enough space for you to daydream. You listen to the sounds of the tent. To your left, Varus is sharpening his dagger. Shk, shk, shk. The whetstone glides along the iron blade. It is a rhythmic, scraping sound. To your right, 2 other men are playing tesserae. Dice. They are playing on a flat shield laid between them. Rattle, rattle, thump. The bone dice hit the leather. 4 and 2, one whispers. Damn, the other replies. It is a quiet game. No shouting. The storm demands a hush. The atmosphere is thick with cosy misery. You are hungry but not starving. You are cold but not freezing. You are bored but safe. It is a limbo state. You finish the sock, you bite the thread to cut it, tasting the lanolin and dust, and tie a knot. You rub your thumb over the patch. It is rough and lumpy, but it is strong. It will hold. Now, lunch. There is no going to the fire today. The fires are out, buried under 4 feet of drift. Today you eat cold rations. Hardtack, buccellatum. You pull out the biscuit. It looks like a stone. It feels like a stone. It is a twice-baked slab of flour, water and salt. It is designed to last for years. You tap it against your knee. Tock, tock. It sounds like wood. You cannot just bite it. You would break a tooth. You have to gnaw it. Or, if you're patient, you soften it. You take your canteen. You pour a little water into your wooden bowl. You break the biscuit into chunks. It snaps with a sharp crack, and drop them into the water. You wait. You watch the bread absorb the water. It swells slightly. It turns from a rock into a paste. While you wait, you can smell the vinegar in your canteen. Posca, a mix of sour wine and water. It is the Gatorade of the ancient world. It smells sharp and acidic, cutting through the stale air of the tent. You eat the mush. It is flavourless. It is odd. Your stomach welcomes it. It is ballast. It settles you. You eat slowly, staring at the flame of the oil lamp. The lamp is the heart of the tent. A small clay bowl with a floating wick. The flame is tiny, a teardrop of orange light. It struggles against the drafts that sneak in. Every time the wind gusts outside, the flame dances. The shadows on the wall lengthen and shrink. Flicker, dance, flicker. You find yourself mesmerized by it. Fire is the oldest television. You can watch it for hours. The conversation in the tent is sparse and slow. Think it'll stop by morning? Marcus asks. He is carving a piece of wood, whittling a new peg for his shield cover. Don't care, you reply. Let it snow. Supplies will be late, Varus grunts from the corner. We have grain, you say. We have bacon. Bacon's running low, Varus mutters. Then we sleep more and eat less, Marcus says. That settles it. Sleep is the best way to ration food. If you are asleep, you aren't burning calories. If you're asleep, you aren't hungry. It is a biological strategy. After lunch, the drowsiness returns. The carbon dioxide levels in the tent are high. It makes everyone lethargic. You decide to clean your kit. You pull out your mess tin, you polish it with a rag. You pull out your comb, you run your thumb along the teeth. Zip, 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 you organise your bag. You put the spoon on the left, the knife on the right. Then you switch them. You're killing time. You're murdering hours. You notice a leak starting in the corner of the tent. The weight of the snow is pushing water through a seam. Drip, drip, drip. It is falling on the dirt floor, making a tiny puddle of mud. You watch it. You could get up and fix it. You could try to plug it with some beeswax, but you don't. It's not hitting anyone. It's just hitting the ground. You decide to let it be. This is the apathy of the storm. The world has shrunk to the size of your blanket. Anything outside your reach is not your problem. You lean back against the tent pole. The wood vibrates slightly from the wind outside. You can feel the power of the storm through the timber. It buzzes against your spine. It is a reminder of the violence you are avoiding. You pull your knees up and rest your chin on them. You look at your hands. They are dirty. The dirt is ingrained in the fingerprints. The nails are broken. But they are strong hands. They built a wall yesterday. They mended a sock today. You feel a strange sense of peace. In the modern world, boredom is a sin. We fill every second with phones, screens, noise. We are terrified of doing nothing. But here, boredom is a luxury. Boredom means you are not marching. Boredom means no one is trying to kill you. Boredom means you are warm. You embrace the boredom. You wrap yourself in it like a second cloak. Someone starts telling the story. It is Titus, the old veteran in the corner. He has been in the Legion for 16 years. He has seen the deserts of Syria and the forests of Germany. His voice is low and gravelly. He speaks slowly, pausing to let the wind fill the gaps. He tells the story of the time they stole a pig from a farmer in Gaul. It is not an exciting story. There is no battle. It is just a story about a pig, some mud, and a very angry centurion. But you listen to every word, you visualise the pig, you visualise the mud. The story is a vehicle. It takes you out of the tent. You drift along with his voice. And then, Titus chuckles, a dry, rattling sound. The pig bit the Optio right on the arse. The tent erupts in laughter. It is not loud laughter. It is tired, wheezing laughter. It feels good to laugh. It warms the chest. The laughter dies down. Silence returns. The wind howls louder. It sounds angry that it can't get in. Listen to her, Marcus whispers. She wants our heat. She can't have it, you whisper back. You start to feel sleepy again. The soldier's holiday is mostly napping. You slide down from your sitting position. You flatten the straw mattress again. You lie on your side, facing the wall of the tent. You press your hand against the leather. It is freezing cold. Just 2 millimeters of hide separate your warm hand from the blizzard. You hold your hand there for a moment, feeling the cold seep into your palm. Then you pull it back into the warmth of your chest. The contrast makes you shudder with pleasure. Cold, warm, danger, safety, chaos, order. You close your eyes. The sound of the dice game continues. Rattle, thump. The sound of the whetstone continues. Shk, shk. These are the sounds of domesticity. You are not a warrior right now. You are just a man in a tent waiting for the sun. You think about the snow piling up outside. You imagine it burying the tent completely. You are deep underground. You are a seed waiting for spring. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go, no emails to answer, no deadlines, no commute. There is only the storm and the waiting. And the waiting is good. You drift into a light doze. Dreams mix with reality. You dream that the wind is a song. You dream that the snow is a blanket of wool. You dream that you are mending the world with your bone needle. Over, under, over, under. Time passes, maybe an hour, maybe 4, it doesn't matter. The storm owns the clock, you are just a passenger. And as you float in this timeless grey cosy void, you send a thought to the future, to the listener, to you. You're also stuck. Maybe you're stuck in traffic, maybe stuck in a year, maybe just stuck in a rainy Sunday. But look at the soldier. He is stuck in a blizzard in 122 AD with nothing but a hard biscuit and a sock to mend, and he is content. He has found the quiet centre of the storm. Can you find it too? Can you embrace the waiting? Can you find the joy in doing absolutely nothing? Listen to the wind outside your own window, or the hum of the air conditioner. It is the same sound. It is the sound of the world spinning while you stay still. Stay still, let the snow fall, let the work wait. Just be here, in the tent, warm, safe, bored, and happy. The silence wakes you. For 2 days your world has been defined by the roar of the wind. It was a constant physical presence pressing against your eardrums. Now it is gone. The absence of noise is so profound it feels heavy. It rings in your ears. You open your eyes. The light inside the tent has changed again. Yesterday it was a muddy brown gloom. Today the leather roof is glowing. It is a brilliant translucent white like a paper lantern lit from within. The sun is back, and it is strong. You sit up. The air in the tent is freezing, colder than it has ever been. The storm has stripped away the humidity, leaving behind an atmosphere so dry and sharp it feels like inhaling broken glass. Marcus is already up, tugging at his boots. He looks at you and grins. His lips are chapped and bleeding slightly. "Sun's up," he rasps. "Time to dig," you reply. You dress quickly. You layer everything you own, tunic, sub-tunic, woolen trousers, a concession to the barbarians that even the Romans had to adopt. You crawl to the entrance. The leather flap is frozen shut. It is stiff as a board. You have to punch it with the heel of your hand to break the seal of ice. Crack. You push it open. And then you are blinded. The light that hits you is physically painful. It is not just sunlight. It is sunlight amplified by a billion mirrors. The entire world is white. The camp is gone. The muddy streets, the brown ditches, the grey tents, all gone. In their place is a pristine rolling landscape of snow. The tents are just white mounds like giant molehills. The palisade wall is a white ridge. The forest beyond is a sculpture of crystal and ice. You instinctively throw your hand up to shield your eyes. You squint until your eyes are just tiny slits. Tears stream down your face immediately, a reflex against the glare. This is the snow blindness danger. You have to learn to look without looking. You focus on your feet. You focus on the shadows. You step out. Crunch. The snow is deep, up to your knees. But it is not soft. The wind has packed it tight and the cold has frozen the crust. It holds your weight for a fraction of a second, then gives way. Crunch. Think. Crunch. You look around. The camp is waking up. From every white mound, men are emerging like bears from hibernation. They are all doing the same thing. Shielding their eyes, blinking, and breathing out massive clouds of steam. The air is incredibly still. The smoke from the cook fires rises in perfectly straight, vertical pillars, hundreds of feet into the blue sky. It looks like a forest of grey columns supporting the heavens. "Delabras!" the centurion shouts. His voice carries effortlessly in the thin, cold air. It sounds crisp, like a bell. There is no breakfast yet. First we must find the camp. You grab your shovel. Not the pickaxe today. The wide wooden shovel with the iron rim. You start to dig. This is a new kind of labour. Digging earth is heavy and grinding. Digging snow is lighter, but it is relentless. You clear a path from your tent to the main road. Scoop, toss, scoop, toss. The snow is dry and powdery. When you toss it, it explodes into a cloud of diamond dust. The crystals hang in the air, sparkling in the sunlight. You're breathing in rainbows. The rhythm takes over. Bend, scoop, lift, throw. It is a whole body motion. After 10 minutes, a strange thing happens. You start to get hot. The air temperature is 10 degrees below zero, but your core is burning. You're wearing 3 layers of wool. You're a furnace. Sweat starts to trickle down your back. You feel it sliding down your spine. This is the danger zone. If you stop, that sweat will freeze. So you cannot stop. You have to keep the engine running. You look at Marcus. He has taken off his cloak. He is shoveling in just his tunic, steam rising from his shoulders as if he were on fire. It is a surreal sight. Men stripping off clothes in the middle of a frozen wasteland. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The sound of hundreds of wooden shovels hitting the packed snow is the soundtrack of the morning. It is a soft, rhythmic shushing sound, like waves on a beach. You clear the entrance to the tent, you clear a perimeter around the stakes so the leather doesn't rot. Then you move to the main road, the Via Principalis. The entire century is working together now. A line of 80 men shoveling in unison. It is satisfying work. You can see the progress immediately. A grey line of stone road appears from beneath the white blanket. You are restoring order. You are reclaiming civilization from the wild. You pause for a second to lean on your shovel. You take a drink from your canteen. The water is slushy, half ice. You chew the ice. It crunches loudly in your head. You look at the forest beyond the walls. It is breathtakingly beautiful. The pine trees are bowed down under the weight of the snow. They look like old men in white cloaks. The sky is a blue so deep it looks purple. For a moment you forget the war. You forget the blister on your heel. You just exist in this crystal cathedral. The silence of the snow is different from the silence of the night. It is a bright silence. It feels expectant. A bird flies over the camp, a raven. Its black wings are a shock against the white sky. Caw, caw, the sound echoes for miles. You watch it fly until it is just a speck. You envy its wings. It doesn't have to march, it doesn't have to shovel. It just glides over the deep drifts. Keep moving, the Optio barks. You snap back to reality, you lift the shovel. Scoop toss or your shoulders are starting to ache. The good ache, the ache of use. You uncover a patch of frozen mud. It is ugly and brown compared to the snow, but it is solid ground. You feel a sense of victory. You found the floor. By mid-morning the camp is clear. Or clear enough. The main roads are open, the tents are dug out, the latrines are accessible. Now, the order comes down. Subal, pack up. You freeze. Pack up. You look at Marcus. He looks back, his face falling. We're marching? He asks. In this? Road's clear, you say, gesturing to the strip of stone you just uncovered. If the road is clear, the eagle moves. There is a collective groan across the camp. It is a low, rumbling vibration. Leaving the campsite is always hard, but leaving it after you just spent 2 days bonding with it, hiding inside it, mending your socks in it, that is a heartbreak. You have to destroy your home. You go back to the tent, you pull the pegs, yank. The leather collapses. The white igloo becomes a flat pile of hide. The warm pocket of air you created, the bear's den smell, the humidity, the coziness, evaporates instantly. It is blown away by the wind. All that is left is a square of dry ground where the straw mattress used to be. It looks incredibly lonely. A ghost of a room. You roll up the leather. It is stiff and heavy with ice. It cracks as you fold it. You pack the mule. You hoist your own pack onto your shoulders. The weight returns, the familiar crushing weight of the furka. You stand on the road. The wind is picking up again, blowing the loose snow across the stones. It swirls around your boots like white smoke. The trumpet sounds. Wah, forward. You step off. The march today is different. The acoustics have changed. The snow dampens the sound of the boots. There is no thunderous roar today, just a muffled thump, thump, thump. The light is the real enemy. You have to keep your eyes cast down, looking at the back of the man in front of you. You focus on the texture of his cloak. You count the threads. If you look up at the horizon, the glare will burn your retinas, so you march in a tunnel of your own making. But there is a beauty to the winter march. The air is so clean it cleanses your lungs. Every breath feels like drinking cold water. You feel alive, sharp, awake. The lethargy of the tent is gone. The blood is pumping hard through your veins. Your body is a machine consuming the cold and turning it into heat. You pass a frozen stream. The water is caught in mid-flow, turned to icicles that hang over the rocks like teeth. You pass a deer standing in the tree line. It watches the legion pass. It doesn't run. It knows you're too heavy and too slow to chase it in the snow. You're a slow iron snake. As the afternoon wears on, the sun begins to lower. The blinding white turns to gold, then to pink, then to a deep, bruising violet. The blue hour arrives, the snow turns blue, the shadows turn blue. The world feels underwater. The temperature plummets. You can feel the drop instantly, the sweat on your back turns cold. You have to walk faster to keep warm. The column speeds up, the urgency of the night. You are tired. The shoveling this morning took your energy. The marching is taking the rest. Your legs feel hollow. Your stomach is empty. You want the stop, you crave the stop, but you also dread the work that comes with the stop. You will have to clear the ground again. You will have to dig another ditch in the frozen earth. You will have to build the wall again. But then you think about the tent. You think about the moment, 3 hours from now, when the leather is up, when the candle is lit, when the blanket is pulled up. That moment is the beacon. It pulls you forward through the snow. You're marching towards sleep. Now, stop. Let the legionary march on into the blue twilight. Let him trudge through the drifts. Bring your attention back to your room. Look at the light in your room. Is it blinding? No, it's soft. It is dim. Is it freezing? No, the air is still. Do you have to shovel snow before you can rest? Do you have to break ice to open your door? No. You are already at the destination. You skip the march, you skip the shoveling. You are already in the warm tent. The candle is already lit, the blanket is already pulled up. Feel the gratitude for the roof above your head. It is not sagging under snow. It is strong. It is permanent. Feel the gratitude for the floor. It is not frozen mud. You have nothing to do but close your eyes. The snow is outside, the glare is gone. There is only the soft, warm dark. The soldier is miles away, walking on the ice. You are here, floating, warm, still. Sun gave up today. It barely made an effort. It dragged itself above the horizon for a few miserable hours. A pale, sickly coin in a grey sky, and then it collapsed back into the earth. By mid-afternoon it was twilight. By late afternoon it was night. This is the solstice, Bruma, the shortest day, the deepest trough of the winter wave. For a Roman soldier, usually a creature of the sun who wakes at dawn and sleeps at dusk, this endless darkness is disorienting. It messes with your internal clock. You feel like you have been awake for days, yet you also feel like you never truly woke up. The world is trapped in a perpetual gloom. But tonight, the mood in the camp is different. There is a buzz in the air that defies the cold. The usual strict discipline has been relaxed. Just a fraction, but you can feel it. The centurions are looking the other way. The shouting has stopped. Tonight is not just a dark night. It is the beginning of Saturnalia. You are sitting around a fire that is bigger than usual. The Optio allowed you to use extra wood. You threw a whole log on, a thick branch of pine that is spitting sap and crackling fiercely. Snap, pop, hiss. The smell of the burning resin is intoxicating. It smells sharp and clean, cutting through the usual stench of unwashed bodies and wet wool. It smells like a celebration. You look around the circle of faces, your messmates, Marcus, Varus, Titus. Their faces are illuminated by the orange glow. The firelight softens the hard lines etched by the wind and the fatigue. In this light, they don't look like killers or labourers. They look like boys. They look like family. Everyone is smiling. It is a rare sight, teeth flashing in the darkness. Io Saturnalia, Titus says, raising his cup. Io Saturnalia, you all chorus back. It is a toast to the old god of time and agriculture. A toast to the golden age when men were free and didn't have to march in the snow. You look at your cup. It's not the usual wooden bowl. It is a clay cup you've saved for this. And inside, it's not water. It is not even the sour vinegar water Posca. It is wine. Real wine. It was brought up from the supply wagons today. A gift from the emperor. Or perhaps just a wise move by the general to prevent a mutiny in this godforsaken weather. It is thick, dark red, and heavily spiced. They have heated it over the fire. You lift it to your lips. The steam warms your nose. You take a sip. The taste explodes in your mouth. Cloves, honey, cinnamon, and the deep tannic burn of the grape. It is warm liquid velvet. It slides down your throat and hits your empty stomach like a bomb of happiness. You can feel the alcohol entering your blood almost instantly, loosening the knots in your shoulders, unclenching your jaw. Better than the swilling gall, Marcus says, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. Everything is better than gall, Varus grunts, but he's smiling. Tonight you are not just eating hardtack, you have fresh meat. A pig was slaughtered for the holiday. You have a chunk of roasted pork on a skewer. The fat is dripping into the fire, causing little flare-ups. Sizzle, flare. You bite into the meat. It is hot, salty and greasy. It tastes of smoke and survival. For the first time in months you are full, truly, completely full. The gnawing hunger that lives permanently in your gut has been silenced. The wind is howling outside the ring of firelight, blowing snow against the backs of the tents. But you don't care. The fire is huge. The wine is warm. The company is good. The darkness, usually a threat, now feels like a wall protecting you. It isolates this little circle of light. The rest of the world has fallen away. Rome is far away. The enemy is far away. There is only this. The storytelling begins. This is the true entertainment of the Legion. There are no books here, no plays, no screens. There is only the voice. Titus starts. He always starts. He talks about his home in Sicily. The sun there, he says, closing his eyes, is so hot it feels like a heavy hand on your shoulder. The lemons are the size of your head, and the sea is the colour of turquoise. You listen and you visualise. You build Sicily in your mind. You can smell the lemons. You can feel the hot stone of the terrace. You can hear the cicadas buzzing in the olive trees. It is a collective hallucination. For 10 minutes, 8 men in a frozen forest in Scotland are sitting on a beach in the Mediterranean. Then it is your turn. You talk about your mother's kitchen. You talk about the smell of baking bread with rosemary. You talk about the way the dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight coming through the window. You speak slowly, savouring every detail. The other men listen intently. They are drinking your memories. Your memory becomes their memory. In this shared space, you are not alone. You are connected by a web of nostalgia. The wine makes you sentimental. You look at these men and you feel a fierce love for them. You would die for them. You know they would die for you. This bond, the communitas, is stronger than any armour. It is the secret weapon of the Legion. It is what keeps you warm when the wool fails. Someone starts to sing. It is a low, mournful song. An old soldier's ballad about a girl left behind. She waits by the gate while the dust rises on the road. You all join in on the chorus. The voices are rough, off-key, gravelly with smoke. But the harmony is deep and resonant. The sound rises up into the black sky, challenging the silence of the north. The vibration of the singing feels good in your chest. It shakes loose the last of the tension. The fire begins to die down. The logs have turned to glowing red coals. The flames are lower, softer. The shadows draw closer. The blue hour of wine and song is ending. The grey hour of sleep is approaching. But you are not sad. You are content. You have marked the turning of the year. Tomorrow the sun will stay a few seconds longer. The worst is over. The light is returning. It is a powerful thought. You have survived the bottom of the curve. You stand up to leave the fire. You stumble slightly. The wine has gone to your legs. Marcus grabs your elbow to steady you. Steady, soldier, he laughs. You laugh back. You walk to the tent. The cold air hits you, but the wine has created a shield. You feel numb to the frost. You crawl inside. The tent is warm from the heat of the day's cooking and the bodies of the men who went to bed earlier. You find your spot. You don't even bother to take off your belt tonight. It's Saturnalia. Rules are for tomorrow. You just wrap your blanket around you. You lie on your back. The tent spins gently, a pleasant rocking sensation from the alcohol. You feel heavy. So heavy, you think about the sun turning around in the sky. You think about the lemon trees in Sicily. You think about the rosemary bread. The sounds of the camp are fading. The singing has stopped. There is only the wind and the crackle of the dying fires. You feel a profound sense of safety. The longest night is here, but you have conquered it with light and friendship. You're not afraid of the dark anymore. The dark is just a blanket. Now, shift your focus. Travel from the fires of the Legion to your own bedside. Think about the longest night. Maybe you have had a long day. Maybe you feel like you are in the dark. But look at the soldier. He found light in a cup of wine and a story. He found warmth in a frozen forest. You have so much more light than he did. You have a light switch. You have a heater. You have the sun in your pocket, your phone. You're safe from the winter. Imagine the fire in your chest, the warmth of the wine. Let that sensation fill you. A heavy golden liquid relaxation. It flows down your arms, it flows down your legs, it makes your eyelids heavy. The soldier is sleeping off his celebration. He is dreaming of lemons and blue water. You can dream with him. Let the winter stay outside. Inside it is always warm. Inside the sun is always shining. Close your eyes, the solstice is over. The light is coming back. But for now, enjoy the dark. Enjoy the rest. The silence of the winter is over. You wake up not to the wind, but to a new sound. A persistent, rhythmic sound that surrounds you like a cage. Drip, drip, drip. It is the sound of the world melting. The heat has returned, just enough to break the back of the frost. The ice that held the north in a suspended state of crystal beauty is shattering. You crawl out of your blanket. The air in the tent feels damp. It feels thick, like breathing through a wet towel. The crisp dryness of January is gone, replaced by the heavy humidity of the thaw. You put your hand on the ground. It is soft. The earth has turned to sponge. You step outside. The white cathedral is gone. The pristine snowdrifts have collapsed into grey slush. The camp is no longer a sculpture of ice. It is a swamp. Welcome to the season of Lutum. Mud. Mud is the true enemy of the Legion. Snow you can shovel, ice you can chip. But mud fights back. You line up for the march. The road, once hard stone, is slick with a layer of slime. You take a step. Squelch. Your boot sinks 2 inches. The mud grabs the leather heel. It sucks at it. You lift your foot. Schlock. It makes a wet kissing sound. This is the rhythm of the day. Squelch. Schlock, squelch, schlock. Every step requires twice the energy. You aren't just lifting your leg, you're fighting the suction of the earth. The mud adds weight to everything. It cakes onto your boots, turning them into heavy clay bricks. It splatters up your shins, soaking the bottom of your tunic. You look at the man in front of you. His red tunic is speckled brown. His cloak is heavy with water. He looks like he was sculpted from the riverbank. The march is slow. Agonizingly slow. You slide, you slip, you plant your foot, expecting it to hold, but it slides backward 6 inches. Slice. You have to engage every muscle in your core just to stay upright. Your lower back aches, your thighs burn. It is a day of friction. The damp wool rubs against your skin. The wet leather straps chafe your shoulders. You are wet. Not the clean wet of a shower, but the gritty, dirty wet of the road. You stop for a break. You don't sit down. You can't sit down. The ground is liquid. You lean on your pilum. The iron tip sinks 6 inches into the muck. You drink from your canteen. The water tastes of rain. You look at your boots. You can't even see the leather anymore. They are just shapeless lumps of brown earth. You wiggle your toes inside. They are wet. The water has seeped through the stitching. Your socks are sodden. It is uncomfortable. It is miserable. But it is consistent. And in that consistency there is a strange trance. You stop fighting the mud. You accept it. You become part of the swamp. You find a rhythm in the sliding. Step, slide, step, slide. It becomes a dance, a slow, heavy, hypnotic waltz with the earth. The sound of thousands of men marching in mud is a low, squelching drone. It sounds like a giant animal chewing. It lulls you. Your mind detaches from your wet feet. You float above the column. Finally, the order comes to halt for the night. You find a patch of ground that is slightly higher, slightly less wet. You pitch the tent. The moment you crawl inside, the relief is overwhelming. The ground inside is still damp, but it is your damp. You sit down on your kit bag. Now comes the best moment of the day, the removal of the boots. It is a struggle. The leather is swollen with water. The laces are caked with clay. You pick at the knots with your fingernails. Pick, pick. The knot loosens. You pull the boot off. Ssk. Pop. The air hits your foot. You peel off the wet wool sock. It is heavy and grey. You throw it in the corner. You take a dry cloth from your waterproof satchel. You wipe your foot. Rub, dry, rub, dry. The sensation of the rough, dry cloth on your prune-wrinkled skin is exquisite. It sends shivers up your spine. You put on a pair of dry socks. Dry wool. Soft, warm, clean. It feels like luxury. It feels like kingship. For a soldier, happiness is simply a pair of dry socks. You lie down. You can hear the rain starting outside again. Pat, pat, pat. It is turning the world to soup, but you are dry, your feet are dry, the mud is outside, the struggle is outside, you have won the battle for today. Think about your own feet now. Are they wet? No. Are they heavy with clay? No. They are light. They are dry. You don't have to walk in the mud, you can just lie there. Listen to the rain in your imagination. Let the mud hold the world down while you float away. The transition is subtle, then sudden. One morning you step out of the tent expecting the usual slap of freezing wind or the suck of the mud, but instead a breeze touches your face. It is soft. It is gentle. It smells sweet. Spring has arrived on the frontier. The great thaw is over. The mud has dried into solid earth again. The grey and brown world is being painted over with a shocking, vibrant green. You look at the hillside beyond the camp walls. Yesterday it was a skeleton. Today it is alive. Tiny purple flowers, heather, are pushing through the dead grass. The trees have fuzzy green buds on their tips. The air smells of wet pine, ozone, and wild garlic. It is a heady, intoxicating perfume after months of smelling only smoke and wool. You walk to the stream to wash. Usually this is a torture session, breaking the ice, scrubbing with freezing water until your skin burns. But today the water is liquid silver. It runs fast and clear over the stones. You cup your hands and splash your face. Splash. It is cold, yes, but it is a refreshing cold. It wakes you up without hurting you. You scrub the winter grime off your neck. You wash the soot from your ears. You feel lighter. You feel like you are shedding a heavy skin. You return to your tent. It is cleaning day. You sit outside on your stool. The sun is actually warm on your back. Not just bright, but warm. You roll up your sleeves. You pick up your helmet. The Galea. It has taken a beating this winter. It is dull, scratched, and stained with smoke. You take a rag and some sand from the riverbank. Scrub, scrub, scrub. The sand acts as an abrasive. It strips away the oxidation. Underneath the grey film, the metal begins to shine. Swish, swish. You work in a circle. The iron turns to silver. The bronze rim turns to gold. You stop to look at it. For the first time in months, you see your own reflection in the metal. You look tired. You are thinner. There are new lines around your eyes, but you are smiling. You made it. You survived the dark. You survived the cold. You survived the mud. The helmet shines in the sun like a beacon. A bee lands on your knee. A fat, fuzzy bumblebee. It crawls slowly over the rough wool of your tunic. Bzzz. You watch it. You don't swat it. It is a messenger. It means life has returned. It flies off towards the heather. You watch it go. The mood in the camp is transformed. The silence of the winter is replaced by a low, happy hum. Men are whistling. Actual whistling. Someone is repairing a sandal and singing a love song. The horses are frisking in the paddock, kicking up their heels. Even the centurion looks relaxed. He is standing by the gate, face turned up to the sun, eyes closed. You finish cleaning your gear. You lay it out on the grass to bake in the sun. The smell of the drying leather is rich and earthy. You lie back on the grass next to your armour. The ground is dry, the grass is soft. You put your hands behind your head. You look up at the clouds. They are big, fluffy white cumulus clouds. They drift lazily across the blue sky. You pick a cloud, you watch it change shape. It looks like a ship. Then a horse, then a face, you drift with it. You feel a profound sense of hope. The campaign will continue. There will be battles, there will be long marches, but not today. Today is for the sun. Today is for the spring. Your eyelids grow heavy. Not the heavy exhaustion of winter, but the light, pleasant drowsiness of a sun nap. The buzz of the bees becomes a lullaby. Zzz. The breeze rustles the new leaves. Shh, shh. You think about the listener. You think about you. Maybe you have been through a winter of your own. A hard week, a cold month. But look, the seasons always turn, the mud always dries, the flowers always come back. Feel the sun on your face in your imagination. Warm, healing, golden. Smell the wild garlic and the pine. Fresh, clean, new. You are clean, you are new. Let the hope fill your chest. Let it relax your heart. The hard part is over. Now comes the easy part, the blooming, the resting. Close your eyes, drift with the clouds, float on the breeze. Spring is here, and you are safe. The wheel of the year turns again. The gentle warmth of spring has hardened into the anvil of summer. It is high noon, the 6th hour. The sun is directly overhead, a blazing white eye that stares down without blinking. There are no shadows. The world has been flattened by the light. You are not marching today. The Legion does not march at noon in this heat. It is dangerous. The armour turns into an oven. The helmets turn into skillets. So the army has stopped. The entire world has stopped. This is the meridiatio, the midday rest, the siesta. You're sitting under the shade of a massive oak tree. The shade is heavy and dark, a pool of cool air in a landscape of shimmering heat. You look out from your sanctuary. Beyond the edge of the tree's shadow, the air is vibrating. Heat haze rises from the dry grass, making the distant hills look like they are melting. It looks hostile out there, but here, under the leaves, you're safe. You've taken off your helmet, you place it on the ground. Clunk. The metal is hot to the touch. You can feel the heat radiating off it like a dying fire. Your hair is plastered to your forehead with sweat. You run your fingers through it, lifting the damp strands to catch the tiny breath of air moving through the branches. It feels incredibly good. The evaporation cools your scalp. A shiver of pleasure runs down your neck. You unbuckle your armour. You don't take it off completely, that would be against regulations, but you loosen the shoulder straps. Click, squeak. The heavy iron plates slide down an inch. The pressure releases. Your chest expands. You take a deep breath. The air smells of dry dust, baked earth, and hot pine resin. It is the smell of summer. It is a dry, sleepy smell. The camp is silent. Not the tense silence of the night watch, but the lazy, heavy silence of a hot afternoon. Thousands of men are lying in the shade of wagons, trees, and tents. No one is moving. Movement requires energy. Energy creates heat. So everyone is still. The only sound is the sound of the heat itself. The cicadas. Z, 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 z. It is a constant high-pitched drone, millions of insects vibrating in the trees. At first it is loud, but after a few minutes it blends into a solid wall of white noise. It creates a sonic blanket that wraps around you. It drowns out your thoughts. It hypnotizes you. Z, z, z. Your eyelids feel heavy. Gravity seems stronger in the summer. It pulls your shoulders down. It pulls your chin to your chest. You take a sip from your canteen. The water is warm. It has been sitting in the sun, but it is wet. It soothes your dry throat. You lean back against the rough bark of the oak tree. The bark is scratchy, but it is solid. It supports your tired spine. You stretch your legs out. Your sandals are dusty. Your feet are brown with the dust of the road. You wiggle your toes. The grass beneath your legs is cool. You watch a fly buzzing in the lazy air. It flies in slow, erratic circles. Psst, psst. It lands on your knee. It rubs its front legs together. You are too lazy to swat it. You just watch it. It flies away. Everything is slow motion. Time has turned into honey. Thick, golden, and slow. You feel a bead of sweat trickle down your temple. It tickles. You wipe it away lazily. Your body is in low power mode. Your heart rate has slowed down. The heat presses you into the earth. It is a drug sensation, a heavy, pleasant lethargy. You couldn't stand up if you wanted to, and you don't want to. You look at Marcus. He is lying flat on his back, his arm thrown over his eyes to block the light. His mouth is slightly open. He's fast asleep. You can hear his deep, rhythmic breathing. It syncs with the sound of the cicadas. In, out. Z, Z. The light filtering through the leaves above you is green and dappled. Little coins of sunlight dance on the ground as the leaves shift. You watch the patterns. Light, dark, light, dark. It is mesmerizing. Your eyes start to close. You fight it for a second. The soldier's instinct to stay alert. But the heat is too strong. The heat is a warm blanket that demands you sleep. You let your head tip back against the tree trunk. Your eyes close. The orange glow of the sun is visible even through your eyelids. But it is not harsh. It is warm. You feel the warmth on your cheeks, on your hands, on your legs. It penetrates deep into your muscles, melting away the stiffness of the march. You're baking in the sun like a lizard on a rock. It feels restorative. The sound of the cicadas gets louder in your mind, then softer. It becomes a hum, a vibration. You are drifting. The boundary between you and the tree, between you and the ground, dissolves. You are just part of the summer afternoon. You're suspended in the golden amber of the day. Now, feel that heavy relaxation in your own body. Summer sleep is different from winter sleep. Winter sleep is curling up. Summer sleep is spreading out. Imagine your limbs are heavy and loose. Imagine the sun warming your skin, relaxing every knot. You're under the shade tree. The light is dappled green. The cicadas are singing you to sleep. You don't have to move. It is too hot to worry. It is too hot to think. Just lie there, heavy, warm, slow. Let the afternoon take you. Let the heat press you down into the mattress. Deeper, slower, sleep. The seasons are a wheel, and the wheel is turned again. The heavy, drugging heat of summer has broken. It didn't end with a bang, but with a sigh. One evening the wind shifted from the south to the north, and the world breathed a sigh of relief. You wake up, and for the first time in months, you reach for your blanket. You pull it up to your chin. The air in the tent is crisp. That is the only word for it. It tastes like an apple. It tastes clean, sharp, and cold. It is the season of autumnus, the golden season, the season of harvest, the season of the great gathering. You step outside. The light has changed. The harsh white glare of summer is gone. The sun is lower in the sky now, casting long, dramatic shadows across the camp. The light is rich and amber-coloured. It makes everything look like it has been dipped in honey. You look at the forest. It is on fire. Not with flames, but with colour. The green sea of leaves has turned into a tapestry of russet, gold, ochre and crimson. When the wind blows, the trees shimmy, and a shower of leaves falls to the ground. Swish, rustle. Today is not a day for drilling. It is a day for foraging. The legion needs to eat. Winter is coming, and the squirrel instinct kicks in. We must hoard, we must gather, we must prepare. You grab a canvas sack, you grab your dagger. You head out into the woods. This is a good duty. You are not marching in formation. You are walking at your own pace, wandering through the trees. The ground is covered in a carpet of dry leaves. Crunch, crackle, crunch. It is the most satisfying sound in the world. It is loud, crisp and rhythmic. You kick your feet through the piles of leaves like a child, watching them swirl up around your boots. You are looking for treasure. Not gold, something better. Hazelnuts, chestnuts, blackberries. The forest is bursting with food. It is the final feast before the starvation of winter. You find a hazel tree. It is loaded with clusters of nuts. You reach up, you pull a branch down, snap. You pick the nuts. They are hard, smooth and woody. You drop them into your sack. Thump, thump. The sack begins to fill. It grows heavy on your hip. It is a good weight. The weight of security. Every nut in this bag is a bite of food for December. You are banking calories. You walk further. You find a patch of brambles. Blackberries. They are swollen, dark and shiny. You pick one and eat it. It bursted in your mouth. Sweet, tart and warm from the sun. The juice stains your fingers purple. You eat another and another. You're eating the sun. You feel a deep primal satisfaction. The hunter-gatherer inside you is humming with joy. Find, gather, keep. The air smells incredible today. It smells of decaying leaves. That rich, musky, earthy smell of the forest floor. It smells of wood smoke drifting from the camp. It smells of rain coming in the distance. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with the cool air. It wakes you up. It makes your mind sharp. You return to the camp in the late afternoon. The mood is busy but cheerful. Everyone is preparing. Men are chopping wood. Chop. Crack chopor. The sound of axes hitting timber echoes off the hills. They are building the wood walls. Stacks of firewood that line the tents. You add your contribution. You stack the logs. 1 log, 2 logs, 3 logs. The wall grows higher. Every log represents a warm hour in January. You're building your future warmth. You look at the stack and feel proud. You are ready. Let the cold come. You have the wood. You walk past the granary. The wagons have arrived from the south. Sacks of wheat are being unloaded. Thud, thud, dust motes dance in the shafts of sunlight. The air smells intensely of dry grain and flour. It is a wholesome, dusty smell, the smell of bread waiting to be born. You see the abundance and you see the piles of food, the anxiety of the empty belly fades. The camp is full, the larder is stocked. Evening falls earlier now. The sun dips below the trees, and the temperature drops instantly. The golden hour turns into the purple hour. So you head to the fire. Tonight the fire is not just for light, it is for warmth again, and you welcome it. You roast the chestnuts you gathered, you put them on a hot stone near the coals, you wait, pop. One explodes, you laugh, you peel the hot nuts, tossing them from hand to hand to cool them. They taste sweet and creamy. You share them with Marcus. Good haul, he says. Winter can come, you reply. You sit there, watching the smoke rise straight up into the stars. You feel a sense of nesting. The frantic energy of summer is gone. The hard labour of spring is done. Now is the time to settle, to draw the curtains, to close the door. The world is going to sleep, and you are going to sleep with it. You go to your tent. You have added an extra layer of straw to your mattress today. Fresh straw. It smells sweet and grassy. You fluff it up, thick and soft. You lie down. You pull the blanket up. The air outside is cold, a frost is forming, but inside you are toasty. You can hear the wind rustling the dry leaves outside the tent. Rustle, skitter, rustle. It is a dry, whispering sound. You think about the squirrel in his tree, you think about the bear in his cave, you think about the grain in the granary. Everything is gathered in, everything is safe, there is nothing left to do, the harvest is done. Now, bring that feeling to your own bed. Think about your own harvest. You have done the work of the day. You have gathered your thoughts, you have locked your doors, your fridge is full, your house is warm. You are prepared. You don't have to go out anymore. The world outside is cooling down, slowing down. You can slow down too. Nest, burrow, settle. Feel the weight of the blanket. It is the weight of the harvest, and feel the satisfaction of enough. You have enough. You are enough. The leaves are falling. The trees are sleeping. Join them. Drift into the golden, rustling dark. The fire is out. The last glowing ember, which pulsed like a heartbeat for hours, has finally faded into grey ash. The light has left the world. There is no moon tonight. The sky is a heavy velvet canopy of clouds. The darkness is absolute. It is a thick, physical substance that fills the tent, filling the space between the sleeping men, filling the space between the earth and the sky. You are lying on your back, you are perfectly still, you have stopped moving, you have stopped fidgeting, you have stopped adjusting the blanket. Your body has found the 0 point, the point of perfect equilibrium. You are no longer fighting gravity. You have surrendered to it. You feel the earth pulling you down through the straw mattress, down through the leather floor, down into the soil of Britannia. You are anchored. The silence is total, the wind has died down, the leaves have stopped rustling. The camp is a city of ghosts. 5,000 men are breathing in unison. If you listen very closely, past the ringing in your own ears, you can hear it. A low, rhythmic tide. In, out. It is the breath of the legion. It is a comforting sound. It means you are not alone. You're part of a giant sleeping organism. Your armour, the Lorica Segmentata, is sitting in the corner. Visualize it for a moment. It is cold, it is hard, it is empty, it is a shell that you have cast off. You are not the armour. You are the soft, warm, breathing creature inside it. And right now, the creature is safe. The armour can wait. The war can wait. The emperor can wait. They do not exist in the dark. In the dark, there is only you. Your feet are warm. Remember the cold of the winter watch? That is a distant memory. Remember the mud of the thaw? That is gone. Your feet are dry, light and floating. The sensation of the heavy boots is gone. Your legs are heavy logs. They are sinking into the bed. Your hands are uncurled. They are open, resting loosely on your chest. Your jaw is slack. You think about the sentries on the wall. They are out there, standing in the dark, watching the forest. They are your guardians. Because they are awake, you don't have to be. Because they are watching, you can close your eyes. Give them your worry. Hand it over to them like a heavy pack. Here, you say, you take this, I am going to sleep. They take it. They nod. You are free. Your mind begins to shut down the camp. Imagine the torches along the perimeter wall being extinguished one by one. Puff. One goes out, puff, another goes out. The circle of light is shrinking. The world is getting smaller. It is no longer miles wide, it is the size of the camp, then the size of the tent, then the size of your bed, then the size of your own chest. You are entering the fortress of sleep. It is the most secure place in the empire. The walls are made of silence. The gates are locked. Nothing can get in. No noise, no duty, no past, no future. There is only the eternal now. You feel a wave of heaviness start at the top of your head. It moves down over your forehead, smoothing out the worry lines. It moves over your eyes. Your eyelids feel like they are made of lead. They are sealed shut. It moves down your cheeks, down your neck. Your shoulders drop another inch. The heavy wooden furca is gone. The weight of the world is gone. You are drifting on a dark river. The current is slow and gentle. It is carrying you away from the Roman frontier. You are floating past the trees, past the hills, past the stone roads. You are leaving history behind. The year 122. AD is fading. The legion is fading. The soldier is fading. He is sleeping so deeply now that he has dissolved into the night. He is just a shadow in a quiet tent. And now there is only you, the listener, the sleeper. You are in your own bed, but you carry the peace of the soldier with you. You have earned this rest. You have marched the miles. You have dug the ditches. You have stood the watch. You have done the work. And now, the reward. Feel the luxury of your own pillow. It is softer than straw. Feel the luxury of your own blanket. It is warmer than wool. You are safe. You are warm. You are loved. The darkness is not empty. It is full of peace. Drink it in. Breathe in the silence. In, out. There is nothing left to say. There are no more words. The story is over. The book is closed. The candle is blown out. Let go of the last thought. Let go of the last tension. Let go of the last bit of wakefulness. You are falling. Gently, slowly, like a leaf falling in the autumn woods, drifting down, turning slowly in the air, landing softly on the forest floor. Rest, sleep, deep, quiet, still. Good night, soldier, good night.